Hey guys, how's it going today? This is Middle Ground. My name is Rob Moore,
I'm Robert Nikolai.
and
We are here with a couple guests today. We actually have a couple guests in audience as well for the
yeah,
first
we
time.
do, we do.
So
We have
that's
my boy B.
uh yeah.
All right, man. Thank you, B, for showing up. And we have,
Cody. My name's Cody Stratman.
And I'm Sienna. My name's Sienna Velez.
and we're super excited to be able to be here today. So, we went through a lot of things to get to this point where we're at right now, and we're just happy to be here. Today, we're talking about brotherhood and loneliness, and we want to make sure that we have men's perspective, but also make sure that we have a woman's perspective from that as well. So, chime in anytime that you want. Guys, speak freely, and let's go from the first topic.
Yeah, and as you know, this being, our fifth episode here, Middle Ground is a podcast for men, by men, with men, for information for men, with obviously some female input as well, just to give, the
from
diverse
time to time.
from time to time.
Time to time.
Yep. But a standing place for men to meet, ask questions. We ask that you guys submit questions if you're interested in coming on the show. We also ask that you reach out to us and let us know. We obviously have a multitude of topics continuously. But like Rob mentioned today, our topic today is brotherhood and loneliness. We're gonna kick off with our real world topic today.
Oh man.
So-
Oh man. Let's get into the guy. His name's Sharon.
Sharon
Sharon
Moore.
Moore.
So we're a few weeks behind kind of when this was breaking news.
Probably figure out how to spell that.
But to kind of give a quick background on it, Sharon Moore, it was the head football coach at Michigan University, who was recently fired over, some instances that he's had with a female contact and that sort of thing. So we're not going to get too much into that because I'm sure quite a bit of that will come out as we have our conversation. But that's going to be the initial topic here.
Yeah. So that's just talking about what the real topic is, and when I look at that, when I see it, I can't express more. Is that men have to have more self control. I think that's really super important. So this gentleman had a wife, he had children, and it looks like he got another young lady pregnant or whatnot. So we want to just kind of top it off from there and kind of go from and see what you guys think about that. So we'll start out with Cody first.
Yeah, I think that, just not watching the news over the last few years, I guess just from the spontaneous talk of it, I'd have to say there's probably a lot missing. So to make a comment or to even bring any light to it would be an injustice to the situation, I think.
Sienna, what do you think?
Yeah, I think he's right on his perspective. I actually have heard of this situation, not in depth or anything like that, but just bits and pieces. So, I knew he had a family. I knew this was somebody that he worked with. I believe it was his assistant coach.
Yeah, it was definitely
Or-
someone who was on staff with him.
Yes.
That was a
Close.
direct
Yeah, very
report.
Close, if you
Yeah,
will.
it was definitely
Yeah.
from an HR perspective, one could call it a quid pro quo.
Yes, very
To say the
inappropriate.
least.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And from what I understood is he actually had the chance to transfer her to a different department. And I feel like that's kind of where like his ego came in a little bit as a man, just from a woman's perspective, is that his boss or the director of
Athletics or whatever.
athletics, whoever it was, came to him and said, hey, we've been hearing about what's been going on between you and so I don't know her name. So we're either going to give you the option to transfer her to a different department, or you need to fire her. But it's getting messy and we need to put a stop to it. And
Wow.
he chose to fire her. So I think that is when she kind of came out. I don't think it was right necessarily for her to probably come out the way that she did. However, I feel like that probably could have been avoided a little bit if he would have just transferred her. He completely cut off her salary, and she made double from what she was what I was reading. She
Yeah.
made double of what she was making from the previous year. So not only did she lose her job, but she also lost her finances, and I think that makes someone a little bit bitter, and I think that causes like a little bit of a rift. So
Yeah, I very much, just listening to it, and again, not getting any detail at all. It's there's a lot of life, and a lot of life is missing in the technology world, if you will, or media, however you want to say it. You can put a lot of years into in a week and a half, and that's unfortunate
It is.
Yeah.
I agree.
from all standpoints.
Yes.
I mean, it hurts us all, and that I think on its own is enough to kind of put that topic aside. Until you get the details, it's getting to be more and more of these snap. Social media can put a lot of stuff in together. You put picture collage together, you can get a 10-year picture pretty quick, but there's a lot missing in that little bit of time. So,
Yeah.
We don't know all the information.
Well, I do
and
know.
I respect whatever decision was made. Again, there's a lot of respect for. At least in my point, I like to fly under the wire. So if I don't have to see a camera, I'm good with that.
Yeah. Well, I know there was from what I was reading as well, there was a lot of speculation around, the race side of things as well, and
Really?
Which is unfortunate.
Well, and again, it's you've got your typical loudmouths on either side, but it was some of the things that I read were, this was race driven, and if he was a white man, how many chances did the white man get and stuff like that, and not defending in either end of what has occurred because like Cody said, I'm not 100% abreast of all the facts,
Right.
Correct.
but the things that I have read and the things that I have seen is this isn't necessarily the first time this gentleman has done these things. I refer to him gentleman loosely.
Yeah.
But this
Let me jump in there for a second.
This isn't
then.
necessarily the first time that he's done this, and there's been other instances of similar situations with similar females of similar stature that are very similar to his wife, like this woman was,
Yeah.
that I don't necessarily know have been swept under the rug, but have been brought to light previously as well.
Okay.
So it appears to be a pattern
And that
of
caught up
this
to him.
particular.
But,
So
but,
Cody
but is
had
it
a-
is
yeah,
it
go ahead.
is it maybe a pattern, or is it a lack of is it a lack
Accountability,
of
yeah.
well, or that, or I'm sorry. Let me get back into this. And I don't know exactly how the trust situation goes and what we're going to talk about today, but I've always been a big believer in if you're going to trust, then verify.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And maybe we over trusted here.
Sure.
Over trusted.
Over trusted. In other words, or let me take that back. Not over trusted. We trusted, but we didn't verify. Because now I'm hearing that there's a pattern.
Well, I mean, and
And
again,
that to me tells the story of what I kind of came up with right from the get-go is until you have the details, it's very hard to even. But what you said is very intriguing.
yeah, I mean, it is.
It's intriguing because it changes the whole narrative. Of it.
Well, I mean, and
I mean,
even,
if I
I mean, I
maybe
think
I use narrative.
probably adds to the narrative. I don't think it necessarily changes it because at the end of the day, he still did what he did, and it
He
was inappropriate.
Absolutely did
But I
that.
think it may add to the narrative. I actually didn't see that. Again, I was kind of like I was reading here and there, so I
Right.
didn't read too much about it. I didn't even see really anything regarding race or anything.
yeah,
so.
I mean, and
I
don't,
never saw that either.
and some of that stuff was obviously
Depends on what channel you're on.
Yeah, I mean, again, some of it-
unfortunately,
Yeah, no,
unfortunately,
yeah, it's
I mean,
about your
it-
I mean,
well,
and I will say this just to put it out there. I am very untrustworthy. Let me take that back.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't
watch
you don't
trust.
trust
I don't.
other
I don't
people.
trust very quickly.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I could put a lot of things out there that you guys would all probably agree with, but so just to make that, on the front end, I'm going to be a little bit more untrustworthy in terms of the amount of detail, simply from my background.
And that's not bad. I think that's why everybody should fact check. I think we all should be a little bit untrustworthy of the things that we hear. I
Well,
think
I
that's why
love
we
hearing
should
that.
fact
And
check.
I
absolutely
think,
love
I mean, I think that's just the general media environment as a whole.
Absolutely.
It's actually
Is-
making it.
It,
It's actually making us be more, more trusting, but also
it's the
More
verify
verifying.
piece. It's the
Yeah.
verify
That's it.
piece. Yeah.
Because some of the information that could come out could be
owned
false,
or owned.
Owned,
Or
false,
owned.
Well, and
misleading.
misleading.
And
Yeah,
I
all
know,
of
like,
the above.
I didn't dig in too much into this until we discussed that it was going to be the initial topic, mainly because you had already some stuff going on in Michigan previously with Jim Harbaugh before he went to the NFL.
It seems like
and there were some
Wow,
other stuff
yeah,
going on, and Sharon was an assistant coach for Harbaugh that got promoted to the full coaching job. So I mean, again, we can run down a rabbit hole with this if we
here's
really
the thing,
wanted
though.
to.
And maybe it just, but she's pregnant.
Well,
No,
You know what I mean?
I
Like,
think she,
but I mean-
I think she was pregnant.
So-
Okay,
we
so
have-
so that is a,
And we're
in
talking
it-
about the mistress, just so.
correct.
Yeah.
But that right there now,
Okay.
just off of the first 5 minutes, is like the turning point. Like
Yeah.
we're all sitting here going, okay, but if she is pregnant, then that obviously verifies a lot.
Yeah.
There's a
I
little bit
she's not.
more
actually
to
didn't
that.
fact check that. So I
Is that-
saw she
okay.
was pregnant, and
Okay,
I
yeah.
saw that I read, I should say, that he forced her and paid for her to receive the abortion. I didn't fact check that. I don't know if that's true
And
or
that
not.
and that
so.
right there in itself is what
Allegedly.
really
So
makes
allegedly.
me
Allegedly, yes.
a little bit more.
Well, yeah, he had
hard.
recently got the
hard.
promotion. She also got a promotion. They were, I mean, he was making millions a year. and
6.1 million
yeah,
a year.
okay, yeah, he was making millions a year, and he had just had a baby. He's married. He has a family. So I think that you can really turn your life around very quickly because you went from being a head coach at a top university, making millions with a beautiful wife, a new family, or new
And
additions
yeah.
to your family, and then to not be satisfied with what some would call success already. To want more
You
on
know,
the side of that, I don't know. I think
I
he
will
kind of
have to
jeopardized.
retract. I will have to retract a little bit because I guess I did know a little bit more about this. Because for some reason, wasn't there something involved with the fact that there was more with with his wife than how did it go? I gotta think now. I did hear something that would take away a little bit of what I said.
Yeah, but this is also kind of where things that I was reading where there is kind of a repeated pattern of him
Yeah.
Correct.
and his stepping outside of the marriage and that kind of thing. And again, I'm not trying to flip this on and pointing the fingers at his wife or whatever either.
Right.
But it's like
The rabbit holes.
the continuing pattern, like from what I read, it appears as she was aware of some of these other ones as well. And again, obviously every relationship's dynamics are the relationship dynamics.
And when it comes
But-
down to it, yeah.
but-
go ahead. Yeah.
So what I guess and put it back into perspective. I mean, what does it matter?
What does it matter?
I mean, at the end
Yeah.
of the day, I mean, like everybody's got their
To
own
an extent,
walk.
I agree.
I mean, what does it matter? And so we have this social media, we have all this stuff blowing up something that, at the end of the day, we all have our lives, and,
Sure.
and we only know a piece of it. So I think a lot of that has to do with what this podcast is about, is masculinity, men, right? I mean, well, how can you be masculine when you only hear half the damn story, right? I mean, when we were kids, we used to fight on the playground. Well, you know what happened.
He used to
He
always
went and
fight
hit on the girl that
playground,
you
yeah.
wanted to hit on, and then things happen.
Yeah.
And we had a fight. Okay. Now everybody's hitting on everybody, and now all of a sudden we got a problem, and it's not even a fight. So I guess I get deep quick. But at the end of the day, it's all falling back to the same thing here. We don't know the full concept, but going back to what we are as a man, what the hell is he supposed to do?
What is he
In what
supposed to
At
do?
this
regard?
point, I mean,
Yeah.
at this
Like,
point, I mean,
after it happened.
yeah, I mean,
After it
it's
happened
at this
is what we're
point,
talking
there's,
about, right?
there's.
Well, I
what are you
believe
gonna do?
after
Go
it
write a
happened, he
book and
went to
tell-
her house and tried
He did.
to
And
Yeah, well, I mean,
that's
kill
what I
her
was
and
going to say.
well,
stalk her.
That's what.
Yeah.
That's
So he
exactly.
just made it
That was the
Well,
part.
and that's-
That was
and
the
that's-
part I wanted to get to. That was the part I was missing.
I'm glad I could
I'm
help
glad
with
you're
that.
here.
And
Because
that's-
if you weren't here, I'd be
And that's
completely lost.
but
and
I
I'm
also
already lost.
but I believe
See, men
that's
need women.
that's
When-
more
We
more
do.
of what
when he went there, that
that's what
gave me more solidity that
Yeah.
he knew it was wrong.
He did.
yeah. Well, and I think that's more of what
Fair.
brought the publicity to
Yes.
this
Yes.
than it was of what actually happened.
Yeah.
It was the follow up of him
Correct.
getting the additional charges
I did
of
see that part.
stalking
Yes.
her
That's
and that
the
sort of
part I
thing that
saw.
kind of bubbled it more. And then obviously, as news stories go, it just bubbled
But-
from
Which
there.
I feel like he did that, and I'm not making excuses for him, but I feel like he did that because he out of retaliation. He just lost his job, and now it's all over the
So
place.
he's upset.
And
so he's a
maybe
little
the wife.
emotional.
But here's
I
where the trust
absolutely
thing
think
comes
that's
in,
what's
though.
funny, because I feel like, men are usually like, women are emotional. Women act off of emotions. But I think that this entire thing blew up the way it did because he was acting only off of his emotions. When it came to the immediate, you can either transfer her to a different department or you can fire her. If I can't have her, no one can have her fired. So that caused her to retaliate. I'm sure she felt a little angry. And now she's saying, okay, well, you're going to fire me? Well, I'm going to tell everybody what we've been doing. The proof that because the director came to him and said, listen, somebody's been telling me you guys have been doing this, this, and that.
Yeah.
It needs to come to an end. Transfer her or she's fired. And he said, fired. And she's like, you're going to fire me? Well, I have proof, because the athletic director wanted proof and they said no. He's like, I don't care. Fire her, transfer her. And she's like, here's the proof that you've been wanting. She came out, and maybe wife did know about some of the things before, but guess what? The public didn't know.
Sure.
So she was sitting with that in
Yes.
in her
Crucified
private
him,
home,
yeah.
and she was sitting with that and dealing with it whatever way she was.
It's true.
But the difference with this is that the public knows about it. So not only does wife know about it, and maybe she did have some type of
Huge.
It's huge. The
huge.
public
Yeah.
knows
Yeah,
about
that's
it.
huge.
So
Yeah,
not only does the
that's very
public
huge.
know that
See,
my husband just cheated on me, the public knows he lost his job. The public knows that we're now in turmoil. Our marriage is on the line, and now everything's going. Now she's probably like, you know what? I'm leaving you. This was it. This was the last thing, and he's going bonkers. He wants to go to her house. He wants to stab her. I think he showed up with a knife. He wants to hurt her, kill her. He's stalking her. Allegedly.
Yeah,
Allegedly, of course.
Outside of all that, you are on something that, the thing about the news, right? I mean, who knows what happened,
Yeah.
right? But if you go on Google and look up who owned the news in the 80s versus who owns the news now, there's only 4 companies that own the news. Which way do they slide? And then start to put back this. Look, I don't know this guy.
Yeah.
But I do know that he has a history of doing really good things, and he's got one really bad thing that is now putting him into a perspective that nobody really knows the history of it. And you are dead on.
Yeah.
I mean, having your perspective has actually made this way easier to talk about.
Good.
But here's the thing. We got twofold here,
Yeah.
right? And this comes with what I think happened with social media and media in general. We have a private life, and we have our media life.
Yeah.
Okay? Media life is, no matter what your private life is, media life has got an agenda.
Mm-hmm. And can be
But I have a
perceived anyway.
really hard time thinking that after 40-some years of living his life, or whatever the hell old he is, that it all changes in one split second. There's a lot of stuff that's not in there.
Well, I think when you make choices
correct
the way he
there's
made,
there's
it
no
does-
disregard to that.
Well,
There's absolutely no, and trust me when I say this, I have absolutely no skin in the game. This guy, he might have been the complete,
yeah.
I don't know. But I said right from the get-go, it's very hard to put somebody on a stake
Yeah.
with that little bit of, and then to go a little farther in this conversation where I never even thought it would go. It goes right back to what's the problem with this country right now, is which our media. It's our media. It's our lack of what we actually see,
Yeah.
right? And
The
that's what this
emotionally triggered,
podcast
yeah.
is about.
Yeah.
No.
It's really what it truly is about. It's how do you make a masculine man when you have a damn camera? You can't be
That's very
masculine with a
interesting,
camera.
yeah.
It's not possible. Women or men. Women, you struggle worse in this situation because guess what? Unfortunately, I think our society has put you guys in the back burner, behind the curtain. Now we're all behind the curtain.
So I think going back to what you were saying, we have 3 lives that we live. We live a life
Very much
of in the public eye,
Mm-hmm.
our family life, and then privately to ourselves when we're by ourselves.
Yeah.
And I think that's huge to think about. And then also going back to what you guys were saying again, allegedly he did all these things and there's all this information that came out and we see it on there. Do we take it as true
Right.
when we saw it? And is it really true?
You heard
Who
from all,
knows?
and that's the real
And
thing. You heard from all,
And you heard it from all the
you heard for
different-
the truth.
Yeah, exactly. And you're looking for the truth and you want to say, hey, how can I make a really great, judgment on this position? But it's like, what's really going on though? You know, what
Right.
is really happening? And I think at the end of the day, it's like when we see information, because information comes from so many different sources, it's like either we go to the source, if that's a possibility, which this isn't a possibility for all of us to do.
Right.
We don't know this guy personally.
This is a really amazing thing here to be able to sit here with.
Yeah, and have a conversation and different perspectives, and
Different perspectives.
Well,
are
It's
cool.
scary though too, because we can get off on tangents where it's
we
like,
can, and it's easy because I was ready to go on the.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and I think the other thing that brings us to light too, and we could go on for hours on this
Yeah.
as well, is the fact that it is a very well publicized position.
Yeah.
He's not, you know, none of us Kenosha guys or whatever, Waukegan guys.
Yeah, yeah.
Sitting in the
well, you
background.
don't know him.
You know, I mean, this is
We don't know this guy really.
You're talking.
He knows him.
You're talking.
Bernard knows him.
You're talking Big Ten football coach making $6.1 million dollars a year.
Damn, that's it.
I mean, it's
35 million dollars
Was his
what
contract.
he lost
A game?
on this,
Was his
on this-
contract.
No, in 5-year contract.
Yep.
$35 million was lost on this position. What I can say is that, man, men in general, it doesn't matter your race, your color, your creed, whatever that is, but we have to stop thinking emotionally, and we have to think as logically as we possibly can, because at the end of the day, emotional decisions, and we see that throughout the Bible, we see that throughout history, they will
bury you.
tear you from the bottom up. They'll tear you up. It'll destroy you for making the wrong decisions because you're making an emotional decision. So I would say is like you have to think about things, because like he had a lot on the line. He lost $35 million. That's a lot of money, because
And
I don't
his
have
family.
and his
okay.
family,
Yeah.
and then because it
And his
became
family.
public. So if it would have been a private matter, maybe he would have kept his family. But now it's public now.
Well, I
Exactly.
mean,
You
You
he-
don't
Public
take the
next-
money.
And
No, no,
those
no, no, no. Because this is important to see this in
Yeah.
this position, because it is public. So because it's public knowledge,
Correct.
it would be more likely that she's not going to stand by his side in that position, because she's humiliated, if that's the word.
Yeah, humiliated. Yeah.
You said you did that correct.
I did it right.
And you know, those are things
Good-
that
No, spell it.
Good 8-letter word, Ron.
Country of origin, please.
Yeah, I tried.
money and family
You
are
already
two
used it
things
in
that
the
are very
sentence.
important
I
to
did.
men. So
Good
those two things alone, losing those, some would say that takes away a lot of his masculinity
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah.
And it, and,
Well,
it,
know?
and it does, and,
Yeah,
it does
absolutely.
in a lot of ways, because what it does is like it loses his position of power, his leadership that
Yeah.
he has with his coaching, or whatever.
with
'cause
his
he lost
family,
that.
with
He
his
lost
kids.
that.
I mean,
His
it's-
So now he's
kids,
standing
and
there
like,
with a
where
bag
does he
full of
go?
money at-
Where does he go
nothing.
afterwards?
Mugshot
shell.
plastered everywhere.
A shell of a body with
and
money.
then from what it sounds like the records are is that now he had the stalking and the
Yeah.
intimidation, and
It's
he
just that
went
it's
a little
like a
bit too
snowball
far.
So it
effect.
really
It's
comes.
getting worse
so
and worse
so
and
it still
worse.
goes back to the fact is what is it? What was the cause? Like what made this all come down? Now
And you
look,
know what?
it
And
can sound
I
really.
think his emotion. I think it all started with his emotional decision to fire her.
No,
I think that's
that-
where the snowball effect came.
but I'm talking 43 years before that.
Yeah.
That's where I go. And
Why
that's,
he's cheating? Why
but
he's
that-
stepping
right,
out?
that-
I mean,
but
we
that's
could,
where I go.
yeah.
Right, and that's where this podcast, I think, in some ways, is telling you where men think. Right, like, look, at that moment in time, is now your future. And you always say, sometimes history repeats itself. Okay, maybe it does. So if history repeats itself, well, then he has a problem. But if history shows that this is a one-off, maybe it isn't. Maybe it's something that the whole world could learn from.
So that's interesting, because a lady came out she was an OnlyFans model.
I know these are all the other
Another
things
lady
that I
came
didn't
out,
know before until
she
now.
came out and she said she was an OnlyFans model, and what she said she said that he was texting her and X, Y, and Z, so on and so forth.
That's why I shouldn't.
And he
comment
was trying to
about
kill it.
this.
Well, no, at the end of the day, like we're saying allegedly, but the other position of that is that from what I'm understanding, allegedly he talked about committing suicide. He talked about committing suicide from all this.
Yeah, with all the noise and everything. I mean, okay,
what
but
does that
but,
mean? Is
but that to me is also an emotional reaction.
It
The
is.
emotional reaction that you've had,
Absolutely.
because I mean,
Does that
you
place
look-
you as guilty? Or
Well,
not?
I don't think it places you as guilty, but I think it goes to what Sienna was saying along the lines of the emotional reaction and how
He lost
men's emotional
everything.
reactions
Yeah.
snowball.
He's thinking he
But
lost
here's the
everything,
question.
and it's
Does
like
it matter if he's guilty or not? See, none of this affects the day-to-day lives of most of us in this world, right? And we're all. But here's the thing.
So he broke into
We're-
her house. Just
I
to let
totally
you know.
understand that.
Yeah.
But my take is that, well, I have a buddy of mine that just did it last summer. We can get into that too. I mean, the reality of it is, you could explain 43 years of why maybe or maybe he didn't, and maybe it's not his fault or her fault.
I
Maybe.
mean,
That's
somebody
interesting,
has to
yeah.
take
I get it,
accountability
I get
somewhere
it.
down
Well,
the
do
line.
you?
I think it's both of their faults, to be
maybe,
honest.
correct.
Just from what I know.
Or
I
maybe,
don't know
or
all the
maybe neither
details,
of them have to take accountability. You just have to
No, I
say,
think
God,
they
please.
both should take a
How
little
about this? I'm going to give you an example. How about if you just woke up one day and realized that you have a tumor in your brain that makes you emotionally screwed up, and yet your significant other stood with you the whole time? She didn't put that there. You didn't put that there. And by the way, this is a huge possibility because it happens.
Yeah, I don't.
Correct. So my take is on this one
Yeah.
is maybe it's no one's fault.
Maybe it's the tumor's fault.
Correct.
Well,
so
And
now, but
the
that doesn't. But that,
hypothetical
but,
tumor that
but
he
that
could
doesn't.
have.
But here's the thing: when
Could have
people
a
say
tumor.
"Don't look back," well, you can't. You have to look back, because today you're a new person. So how can you not look back and say that was a mistake or that was caused it?
'Cause
And so
theoret-
here's the thing about the same thing that's happening here. We get a snippet in the news, 2 weeks of this stuff,
Yeah.
and we're supposed to identify 43 years of his issues. And I always say 43 years because that's all I've been on this earth. And that's all that really matters, right?
Yeah.
In some ways.
in a lot of people's
And
lives.
and by the way, I respect every one of you guys more than you probably know, and I don't even know you that well. But the reality of it is we can have this conversation and realize that we only have half the damn truth.
Well, I was going to
Yeah.
say, I think that's part of it is, with the information that you're getting from the media, with the
and I
information.
think this
that
is
you're
why you
getting-
did this podcast.
Yeah, well, and again, it's one of those things, as we've said, is we don't have all the facts.
No.
But these are good topics to talk about because
This is a problem.
Yeah, it's I mean, and it's this one is publicized. How many of these are not publicized on
Right.
a daily basis? The other side of it is, you look at
Guilty without what? What do they call it? Innocent?
guilty by association.
Or just
and-
guilty. Yeah, by
Yeah.
association. The
You know-
news wants you to be guilty, so you're guilty.
Yeah, and I think like we're saying, this probably happens 100 times a day across the country, but because of who he is, the position that he holds, like is throughout the country.
beating.
If you have any kind of half publicity and anybody knows half of who you are, if you go sideways, you're front page of the news.
Say one word and you're gone.
Yeah,
Literally gone.
So I think like we're saying, not having all
not
the
supposed to do
facts.
this during this
You're good. You're
podcast?
good. You're good, Cody.
You guys
You
said
know?
make yourself at home.
Yes, absolutely. But I
feel like I'm at home. Feel like I'm with all my friends. Sorry.
But no,
I'm
you're-
picking my knife up.
But I do think that it's good to have the discussion around the emotional aspect of things, the publicity, the generic decision making that could have gone on behind. I mean, like I said, any one of these topics we could rip a whole episode
Yes.
on by itself. But the fact that we're acknowledging some of the inconsistencies in the news, the trust factors with the information that we're receiving as a whole as well,
Yeah.
I think kind of drives some of that as well.
Absolutely.
I
And based
agree.
on our moral compasses, we can draw all of our own conclusions.
Sure.
You can
That's
pull
the
from where you
scariest
want to
piece.
pull. And
Yeah.
I think what you said is the
100%.
scariest piece. How fast you can travel news.
Yep.
It goes.
It's
really
it's
I think it's even
unbelievably
scarier how
scary.
fast you can blow your whole life up.
I mean-
one word.
You know?
One word can ruin you for.
With every
you know what?
action comes a
It almost
consequence.
makes
I'm
you-
gonna put it down to this position too, because there's other people that have been through situations where people have falsely accused
Yeah.
them of
Yes.
things, and then they've said that, hey, this is what happened, and then that ruined their lives as well because they're guilty.
Sometimes being
they're
honest is
guilty.
not good.
They're guilty.
The
before-
accusation makes you guilty.
Yeah.
Correct.
Exactly, 100%.
Just the
Absolutely.
accusation does that.
Just the accusation and say, hey, this is what happened, blah, 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 on their side. But that's another podcast. I want to get on to the next part of what we were talking about. This is really good, guys. Thank you guys so much for contributing. I think that was really super important. But we want to go to our round table main topic. And again, we were talking about brotherhood and loneliness. And we want to go to our core conversation points. And what it comes down to is the first question, guys: why men struggle to make or keep close friends. And I think that's something to think about. I want you guys to kind of ponder on that, and why men struggle to make or keep close friends. What does that look like?
I mean, I would say the struggle to keep is more not so much a make as it is a keep. And I think that it flip-flops as you get older as well. So I have, and this is what makes it challenging for my sons,
Right.
is I have about 6 hardcore solid guys that are just my boys.
Yeah.
I unfortunately down to 5 because one recently passed away. But these guys I've known since I was in my teenage years.
Yeah.
And, I moved away. These 6 were the ones that I made an effort to make sure no matter
To keep the
where I
connection
was.
going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I'm coming back to Wisconsin, I'm calling them, hey guys, I'm coming home. I want to make sure I see you.
Right.
That even with those 6 has struggled as you get older as well, because you get the families and then you get to where you're coming into town. But then my kids got this and you're in town with your kids and we got to do family this and family that. So I think life struggles and pushes that to some degree as you get older.
Yeah.
I think guys as a whole, we don't struggle to make friends. We struggle to make close friends, because guys were guys. Like Cody said earlier, when we're younger, we get pissed off at each other, throw some fists in the yard, shake hands, hugging it out later on, kicking it, playing football for the next 5 months until some bullshit happens again. Right?
Yeah.
But the difference between that and those friends that you can trust, where you can have conversations like this,
Yeah.
dwindle as you get older.
See, from a woman's perspective, I feel like men are actually good at keeping and making friends more so than women. So that
We
was
were.
a surprising
I think we were.
that was a surprising question for me to be on the main table talk, because I feel like for women it's usually much harder. A lot of the men I know, like you said, have been friends with their friends for years. They've been friends since high school. You guys can sleep with the same women and fight last week,
Wait
and you
just a
guys are
minute. I
still
don't know about that. I
you
don't
know,
know about sleep with the same-
maybe
It's a
I don't
very,
know. I feel like men aren't.
It's a very unfortunate thing for women to have to deal with what we've done in that regard, and I will say that in a way that I hope doesn't come off as shifting the masculinity to one source or the other, because that part doesn't matter to me as much. We have been able to do that because you guys have been able to be behind the curtain, unfortunately, by the way whoever designed how we are today. But you were the at home, raising the children, bringing things to light, right? At home, not in the
not able to make connections
not able.
and go out. That's a good perspective.
It's not fair, but it happened.
Yeah.
Okay, but now going back to this podcast, which I'm trying to keep it as close as I can, we're all in that scenario now. Right? So as men, we have to realize that we did this over the years. We didn't do shit. We have lived it. Now we all face it. We did not. It's not your fault or our fault. We have this thing that we've done for many years that we have to change history. And before we even got on this podcast, I was telling a couple of people about history. We are a primal being. Mm-hmm. Even though shit happened 150 years ago, we still can't quite get over it, right? Like being in a social environment. How worried were you about being in front of all these people? Well, guess what? More people are worried about that than they are dying. Well, why are they worried about that? Well, because when you were 150 years ago, you would have been dead if you weren't accepted. Today, you just walk away. Okay? So there's history in that. Where am I going with it? I don't know. Doesn't matter. I do believe in man law more than anything. Always have, always will.
Oh, you're a
And
man.
unfortunately, women law. Let's call it women law.
So
But you guys have been behind a curtain, and now all of a sudden men are behind the curtain right now, and that's why we're doing this podcast. Because everybody's behind the curtain.
what
you
is
can-
man law?
Man law
Women
means
law.
that, hey, look, if you're standing in front of somebody and they tell you it's wrong and you say it's not and you guys fight it out, well, guess what? The man who wins, wins. That's a man law. Very simple.
Okay.
Primal.
Okay.
Media, social media has taken that away from us.
Okay.
Has it?
Yeah, because you can do anything you want on social media and you can't punch the next guy and knock it out what's right and what's wrong. And you can't get a group of people to knock it out what's right or wrong. Am I wrong or right?
I would.
I mean,
say,
I'm watching you right now, but all I know is this.
That's B over there.
Look,
He's talking
look.
B.
If we're all in one big group, take social media and put us all in the same room, and then let someone say something stupid like they always
Well,
do.
yeah. I
Well,
mean,
yeah, we
they're
might
gonna
not
get
do it on
knocked the
social
shit out.
got-
while the cameras
it's-
are rolling,
it's-
Yeah,
but
but this is what's happening every day in your life. Every day.
I think what he's trying to say is
Every day.
the shift between the keyboard warrior
Correct.
and the way they're going to present
That's the
themselves
man
and the
law.
things they're going to say compared to, pardon my language, I may call Cody a bitch online, but when he's
You
standing
wouldn't do it there.
but when he's standing in front of me,
Sponsorships.
Right,
I may
right,
second
right.
guess calling him a
God.
bitch because a fist
by the
might
way-
fly at my face.
And by the way, let's go back to what we were talking about. By the way, if we didn't have online, you and I would know our history, so we wouldn't have to worry about all the bullshit that we were talking about earlier when we have half truth.
That's true, though.
Fair?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look,
Yeah.
it's not that we're all fighting the same fight. That's why you guys are doing this podcast.
Mm-hmm. Now, Sienna, what do you think about man law?
She hates it because she's
wow.
Wait,
Are
wait.
you Sienna?
totally kidding.
No,
You know why I was saying? I was
I know,
totally
I'm
messing with
joking.
you
It's crazy.
because man law
It's
is really
crazy
women
fun.
law,
I mean,
in my opinion. Women rule the world.
I agree with that. No, but I
No,
mean,
no,
man
but hold
law
on, real
from
quick.
what he,
Notice how none of us disagreed.
I don't disagree.
yeah,
with that.
I mean,
So-
smart men, but but man law based off of what he said. I mean, I've never heard of man law before today, so this is a new.
We all knew.
idea.
All men
Well,
know
I think
about
I
man
think
law.
I think it's one of those.
Dude, I gotta go to
it's-
the bathroom.
It's a unwritten. It's one of those unwritten. You know,
Codes?
yeah,
So
I
wait,
think
wait, wait.
yeah, I think it's just almost like
Yeah.
half of what's going on with the topics that we talk about and the things that we want to talk about is. It's natural for women to have other conversations with women and be all emotional and have this doesn't
Yes.
happen with a guy. It's almost like a bro code
Yes,
thing.
and that is what. Yep,
That's where that comes from.
absolutely.
Like you grew up as a guy, and I know at least my dad taught me this shit is, you're a man, okay? I don't want to say fold for a woman, but she takes priority over yourself.
Yeah.
Women and children first, no question, hands on, you go that route.
Right.
You don't bitch, you don't complain because no one gives a shit.
Right.
You suck it up, you move forward, and
Who can either argue it
You-
out the
you-
best or who can fight it out the
you
best?
I hate
Yeah.
to say the word is you man up.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I empathize with that. I feel like that's how I was raised. And I mean, I'm a woman, so, but I mean, it's the
Wow.
same. No one's coming to save you. You gotta
Yeah,
just
but-
get up and do it yourself. And
That's interesting, actually.
yeah, but I think that women are a lot, not only is it easier for women to be more emotional, I think it's more accepted for women
Yeah.
to be more emotional.
I think that's the key thing. Accept
Yes.
it. Accept
So
it.
although it might be a little bit more difficult for women to keep friends, I don't think it's difficult for women to make friends either. I think it's more difficult to keep them. I think women are a lot more. I think they're a lot more strict with their friends than they are the men in their lives.
That's interesting.
But I feel like even though I might be friends with you for 2 years, but I'm going to cry to you and I'm going to tell you how I feel. We go to the bathroom together and, we're really close. Whereas men, you might be friends with those 6 people, with those 6 men since you were in high school and you're going through a nasty, or you're about to go through a nasty divorce and not one of those 6 friends knows about it. Because although they're the friends that you have known since high school and you trust them and you love them, and you consider them, you don't want to open up to them and you don't want to be emotional with them. And I think that's the difference.
I don't
between-
necessarily know if it's open up emotionally and have the conversation emotionally as it is. I don't want to burden him with my crap.
But I think that
But that's kind of like I was saying, was kind of built to the guy code thing.
Yeah.
Like this is your problem as a man. You are the man. Figure it out.
which I agree with. I do. I mean, I agree just as an individual. We all have our own problems. We all need to figure it out, but we all need someone to lean on. We're social creatures.
Yeah, well, but-
as human beings, we're social creatures.
Absolutely.
We don't thrive in isolation. So I don't think it's fair for a man to be expected to keep everything in and not say anything to his friend. You should.
Sure, but the societal aspect of
agree.
it says
the norms.
Suck it up.
Suck
You're the man.
That's kind of
your problems
that's
are
the
your
history
problems.
repeats
You
itself.
don't put your problems on other people. You are a problem solver and a problem eater, not a problem complainer or a problem pointer outer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
but-
think
but
that's
this
what's
is-
important about this podcast because you guys are allowing a platform for men.
Correct.
to talk about.
But I don't think it should be
To
just
talk
for men.
about it,
I
yeah.
honestly,
Well, no,
I think
so-
the
so-
curtain being
so-
pulled is really the trick to this.
the biggest thing for us, what we're focusing on, is that we want to have men know about men's subjects, but also have women, and then that's
Correct.
what when I created the Facebook and we talked about this, is how women and men can understand each other,
Yeah.
and more women understanding why men do what they do.
Correct.
than
But
what
I
you
think
about.
with the social media, I think
leadership.
that's forcing that to happen. Like you have a
It
different.
is kind of,
it is totally forcing.
without having a conversation, and you're just talking about different
Women
subjects.
women and men are
Yeah.
now at the same. We are finally at the same playing field. If I shouldn't say
We should
in
be.
in general, but for the most part, social media is not the worst thing in the world.
No, I think there's pros
However,
and cons of everything.
Correct. There's a lot more pros,
people
a
think-
lot more cons than we would even want to exaggerate. In whatever stage you are in life, you're going to find out which one you want more. But the reality of it is, men and women are starting to feel the same way in a lot of aspects because we are all now social in the media standpoint, right? Because now women can be at home with their children and men are out there doing their socializing, and now women can socialize just as fast as the men can at home.
Yeah.
So we're all facing it. So now it's like, okay, we can either say, well, I've been married for 40 years, follow me, like everybody does, right? Or you can say, yeah, you've been married for 40 years, you're the problem. You told me to have kids at 20. I should have probably had them at 30. Why? Well, because when you were 20, you didn't have $30,000 in debt or 40 grand. Nowadays, 200 grand in debt. And now you find something at your 20s because it's the time, right? I mean, when do you meet your significant other? In your 20s, right? Well, guess what? In your 20s, you're the most vulnerable you've ever been. You don't know where the hell you're going. You don't know what's going on. So
Your
what do you?
frontal
What,
lobe isn't even developed.
correct. So
as
what
a
do you?
man.
What are you trying to find?
Until
Well,
like
shit, as
20
anybody.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're right.
25, right?
Us
Yeah,
men
it's
don't.
between
We don't
24 and
develop until
26.
35. Why are we getting
Yeah.
married at 20?
Yeah.
Why?
Why are we
Because
doing that?
because history repeats itself.
Well, and
we do
the
this
reason why
over
we're-
and over and over again. And this podcast is going to make that difference.
I think the reason
right
why we're
now.
doing that, and I would have to say, oh, you know what, Rob had it first. Go ahead.
No, all I was gonna do was piggyback on, the differences and looking at,
You're gonna roll with that. Sorry.
he killed my train of thought.
You were piggybacking off of something or someone.
So
Go.
Let me go.
Yeah.
All right. So
I'm sorry.
cut that, Rob.
That's why you don't put ADHD in here.
So, I mean, at the end of the day, I'm almost losing my thought. So, at the end of the day, what it kind of comes down to is that, men are, I kind of lost my thought too. That's terrible. Cody, strike one. No, I mean,
Men don't like being vulnerable.
I
think that's kind of what it comes down to.
I think
is
social
We
media
talked
makes us less vulnerable.
I
which
think
puts us
social
in
media
a worse problem.
can only do what you allow it to do. So
But
I
it's
feel like it
upon
can make
us.
it better or it can make it worse. But I feel like at the end of the day, the root problem, from the women's perspective, the root problem is that men do not allow themselves to be vulnerable, whether that's with their wife, whether that's with their friends or whoever. And I think that's a problem. You can be a man
Sure. Well,
and say how you feel.
and I think a lot of that, as far as being vulnerable with women, depends upon your experience and when, if, and or has it been used against you when you've been vulnerable.
Absolutely.
I think, and this brought me back to my point. What I was going to
that's
say.
smart.
I think
Yeah.
that some
That's smart to say.
of what we were talking about as well from a societal perspective is looking at the way society functions, the rules, the laws, the norms, and all that kind of stuff. And we've touched on this in previous podcasts.
Yeah.
It's all outdated.
Yeah.
Like I mean, from a
misleading, I think.
no, but from
Yeah.
from a
It's
reality
outdated.
from a
I
reality
think that's the best
perspective.
way to put it.
It
Outdated.
is. I agree.
You're enacting and you're functioning off of laws that are 50,
don't
50
work
60,
for the
70 years
society.
old. That they don't.
Clearly.
They don't. And it's not that their structure or their thought isn't correct. It's the application of the way it's written that doesn't make
Absolutely.
sense
Well, you
now.
couldn't have said it better.
Yeah.
And that's an issue.
Absolutely.
And that's what changes when you have more women's rights and women are equaling out to men. That some of this, and we talked about this more so on the divorce side and the child support side of things, with how those laws are written and how they're completely against men.
Right.
Because when the divorce started to become a thing back in the early 80s and that kind of thing, it was women were at home 85% of the time and the men only 15. So the men were making the money and this, you know. So you still have these same archaic things in place that don't make sense now. It doesn't make sense
Absolutely.
that
And then at the end of the day, is like, who put those things in place for
Men.
us or whatever have you, right? Was it men?
Men.
Unfortunately,
at the end of the
we can't
day, it
deny
was.
that.
I mean, it was men.
Well, I mean, it was.
It was.
Well, I
And it
mean,
was
who
wrong.
who put those things in front of us? And I would like to say that I think that men made the decision to say yes, it's okay. But I think women were more the enactors to those positions that where we're at right now. And the reason why I would say that is because look at where we are right now in society. Now, I know this is going to be very controversial, right?
We love controversial.
That's for we got a whole other
we do.
episode cooking out of Rob's
But I
mouth right now.
Let's go. Let's hear
I
it.
don't know if I should say this. But
Say what
Say
you
it.
gotta say.
You already
Look, we're
say
all-
it.
Go.
We're all
Say it.
ready.
It's like, come on, Rob, talk what you were talking about before. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I think what it is that we live in a matriarchy now, and I think men allowed that to happen, and that's where we are right now. Because look at all the laws that protect men. Now we understand that men, and this is something we can look up and fact check, that men don't have as many laws that protect them as men than women have as them protecting them. Women have more laws protecting them.
Why do we have laws
understand
protecting us?
and protecting them a lot more? Well, let me finish.
Yeah, go ahead.
And then also socially, we understand what socially it means that men are kind of in the back burner. Like they're not as smart as women are, right? They're not as intelligent as women are in a lot of positions. Because look at where we are in society. So look at Homer Simpson. He's a dope, right? We look at all these. Who else is a dope? Who is a dope? Not John.
Peter Griffin.
Cartoon
Griffin.
characters?
Well, no, but what
Peter
I think
Griffin.
what he's trying to say
So
is the
he knows
example
what
of
I'm trying to
men
say, yeah.
in your everyday sitcoms, your everyday
Sitcoms.
We're weak.
tongue in
We
cheek,
become weak.
your cartoons. Like yes, the presentation of a man is slapstick, stupid. You know,
They don't know what they're talking
beer
about.
drinking.
They're dumb.
They're
They
weak.
they're
That's
they're
what
that
they
means
come
that
they
from.
have
we're-
leadership because they're a man. It's not valid.
So
And that means
so-
we're currently in a patriarchy? Because that
No,
must have
we're-
been.
Well, my question is-
because I would completely.
You think we're? I think we're
that
in a
you-
matriarchy.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That's what you said. That we're in that all of that means
Matriarchy.
we are in a matriarchy. I mean, obviously disagree. I think that we have been and are still and are very far. We're in a patriarchy and we're very far away from a matriarchy. Even the laws, the fact check, I don't know how we could fact check it, what we would verbalize about the laws, but I think that there are so many laws in place for women because women have been, for
Abused.
many, many years, abused and assaulted.
So let me ask you this.
By men, but I don't
'cause
know
I agree with you 100%.
Numbers of laws, but
there's nothing you've said that I don't agree with. But
you.
again, on this end, as a man, I believe social media is going to correct. See, I from 15 years ago running retail stores all over the country and watching the decline of emotional intelligence was absolutely amazing, to the point where I actually sat down with a guy named Darwin Ham. Anybody remember Darwin Ham? Basketball coach, right? Yeah, this was like 15 years ago. We're sitting down in California. He happens to walk up. Hey, how's it going? Good. Can I sit with you guys? Sure. I don't know who the hell he is. Well, my buddy did. And he didn't say a word because he's smart enough not to. We sit down. We started talking about this exact topic, emotional intelligence. Well, 50% of the time he's coaching basketball. The other 50% of the time he's teaching him not to be an idiot online.
Yeah.
Okay? I was running retail stores trying to hire people to talk to him about buying clothes. I am not talking about clothes. I'm talking about how to say hi to somebody.
Right. Social awareness.
So what did I say? Well, for the last 20 years, I said we're going to go through a social stage. Well, we're here. It's coming. AI is
We're in
a
it.
godsend,
Yeah,
to
it
be
is.
honest with
It-
you.
It is.
But we went through medieval times, industrial stages, technology stages, and heaven beheld, we do not know how to talk to each other. We don't know how to socialize. We actually have women on the same freaking playing field as men, which is amazing. So now we have to learn the social stage.
Yeah.
That social stage is going to teach us how to be more social than we've ever been in our lives if we do this right. Now, here's the question. In my opinion, I don't have children. I have no legacy to leave. At the end of the day, I can just walk away and retire and be done and have a good time, right? But that doesn't motivate nobody. So what am I going to do? Well, I'm going to explain the fact that we're in a really good, cool spot right now, and we're going to get the hell out of this little social stage, this little
Not for Rob, because the
technology.
matriarchy is
Listen,
insufferable.
we are going to be fighting this for the same amount of years that we fighted the technology stages, which has been since 2000. Shit, 99, 98. I was selling cell phones. They had a freaking, you're barely lucky if you had 20 seconds on a call, and the shit was this big.
free calls after.
All right,
9
so we're not
So-
going to do this overnight.
So-
So,
so
in the
what's-
next 20
what's
years,
better, a matriarchy or a patriarchy?
doesn't
Well,
matter. I think what
no,
matters
no.
is a
I mean, I think
matriarch.
we've
It
been
does
in a
matter.
A
patriarchy
matriarch.
for
It's-
X amount of years.
it
And
we
doesn't
need
matter.
it
matters.
I don't know. I
So-
guess I don't know.
My thoughts on this
I
are
don't
It's a good
think we're
question,
thriving.
Rob. God damn, that's a good question,
it,
Rob.
it is
Personally.
it really is a good question for two
It's an
reasons.
extremely good question.
I think
No,
I really
think,
don't know.
no cussing.
I
Can
think
we have them both?
I think
How about it
I-
intellectually?
I love that though.
Severing
Can we
the
have them
ice.
both?
Yeah.
That was I
we
think
take a
that's a
break?
great
Can we
point.
take a
I
break?
think
'cause I
I
gotta
think
pee again.
I think the thing.
Can we
let
have
me
them
let me
both?
fin-
We're gonna
real
take a
quick.
break though, because
I think
Wait,
the thing with this is twofold. I think, as Cody had said, and as I think we all acknowledge at the table, it is a very, very good thing that society has brought women to the point that they
It
are.
is.
I think the struggle is at what point, like we've said, with some of these old archaic rules, norms, whatever you want to call them, that are ingrained in society. When do they pull back?
Correct.
When do they pull back
100%.
to level the playing field back out?
Or
I
should,
agree.
or should they?
When-
or
when-
should they?
when
Of
do we
course they
relook
should,
at it?
Because
When do we
things
re-
shift,
when do we
everything should
reestablish
shift.
it?
You can't
Yes.
keep
Correct.
a play that isn't working for the team.
100%.
Because-
I think we need. But here's the
So
thing
I
about
think the struggle is that men, and I don't think we're in a matriarchy. I think that women are becoming more able to speak and to do and to get out of the house and to not have a sole role of cooking and cleaning and etc. I think men are uncomfortable with that. I think that men don't know how
you are
to
probably 100% correct.
navigate that,
And you know
and
what?
I think that's the
Screw 'em.
struggle.
Screw them then.
Yeah,
I would say
Right? And
I
here's
agree.
where I said trust is the most expensive thing. Verify that this might work. It might
I
work.
agree.
I say you're 50 to 60% correct. And I say that because I think part of it is the fear of that. Okay. But I also
that
think
as in
that
what?
as in
Giving it that up.
giving it up. Like,
giving up your role.
well, I think
Okay.
again, and I think part of it is a societal thing. I think part of it is a natural biological thing. Men, and let's look at this from the very macro, archaic point of view, right?
Which you have to.
But I'm going bare bones here.
Okay.
When you come back
You have
to
to.
it, men build things, men create things, women improve those things. I think part of the fear is our DNA is create, build, lead, go, you're top. To give some of that up is against our natural instinctual abilities, and in theory against women's natural instinctual theories. Now, the fear part of what you're saying, which I agree with, I think is when a woman is above a man in that position,
Yeah.
at what point does she emasculate him to where even though he's the man, even though he's supposed to be the leader, we no longer add value to you?
See,
That's interesting.
Because
It is.
because if you're
very
now
interesting.
let's just play generics. You're now making $300,000 a year. You're now the breadwinner in the household. What am I bringing to the table? You're the one that
your masculinity,
but-
and I feel like a masculine man will allow a woman to be and embrace her femininity just by being masculine and not by being.
and I agree with you.
wait,
Well,
not
no,
by
no,
being
no,
what?
no, no.
Not
but
by
I can't
being
even
what?
think of
No,
the
but
not by being like intimidated
No,
by
but-
me as a woman. Women don't want to lead because I agree with gender roles. I personally do. I think a man should be a man and a woman should be a woman. And I think that as a woman, I don't think any woman wants to be masculine.
But the
I
way-
think we want
but
men
the-
to lead us. We just don't trust you guys because you guys, a lot of you, which I love, this is why I love the podcast. A lot of men are not emotionally mature. A lot of men do not have good leadership capabilities. You might,
Sure.
and you might, but a lot of men do not.
Yes, but because you're saying a lot of men, the ones that do get lumped with the ones that don't.
you shouldn't.
But the societal overtone is not the guys at the table that are comfortable, emotionally intelligent, and stable with themselves. It's you're the guy that's now letting the woman run the show. What the hell's wrong with you, weak ass man?
See, but you do not do that. So as a
No,
woman,
no.
I think that.
I don't.
Exactly.
But society speaks.
But who cares about society? And I feel
But
like
that's what we
the
live in.
thing.
But that's what we live in.
Who cares about society?
Who
But
cares
what-
about
but
society's opinion?
But that's our day-to-day operation is beat down, get down. You are no longer the number
But if
one.
you're the leader in your relationship, why does his
Unfortunately-
relationship matter
But
to you?
it's-
And
but-
why does his relationship matter?
Unfortunately,
Because I'm the leader of my relationship, so I don't care if she leads the relationship.
You're the leader of your relationship. Okay, so let me go into
Unfortunately,
let me
that's the,
let me go into what patriarchy is. It's a system where men, husbands, fathers, hold primarily responsibility of authority inside of the family and society. The key idea: authority and responsibility. Men are expected to lead, protect, provide, and sacrifice. Authority is tied to accountability.
Sacrifice.
Leadership is meant to be servant-based and not tyrannical. Sit down, Cody. Just kidding.
Just kidding, not really.
All right, the biblical frame, because I'm going to make sure I bring this to the biblical frame, because this is where our laws all over the land when I say land, all over the world, were made from. Adam formed first, Genesis 2, it says, husbands called to love as Christ loved the church, Ephesians 5:25. Fathers held accountable for family direction, Joshua 24:15. Again, this is where the law of the land of all over the world came about. And patriarchy in scriptures, domination, it means ordered leadership and heavy responsibility. The matriarchy, let's talk about the matriarchy, okay? A system where women, mothers, hold primary authority in family and society. The key idea is relational influence and nature authority. Nurturing authority, sorry about that. Emphasize on care, connection, emotional wisdom often arises when men are absent, weak, or unreliable, like we were talking
Agreeing
about,
with all
right?
this.
Yeah.
Authority tends to be informal, relational, and communal. The biblical note: the Bible does not present matriarchy as design model, but it does acknowledge that women leading in times where male failure, and it talks about Deborah in Judges 4-5, was sustainable, not idolized or whatever. So it just says, hey, men leadership wasn't there, so women had to take over in that position. So this is where we are as a
why
society
weren't men
right
there
now.
at
No.
No.
So
What-
we're here
what-
as a society as of right now, because what happens is that a lot of men are unable to lead. They don't know
Absolutely.
exactly what their place is. And to be honest with you, totally, even if you believe in God or you don't believe in God, people threw God away, right? So what's in jeopardy? Family structure, right? We do understand and agree family structure is in jeopardy right now. Children lack clear authority because they think that, hey, either dad doesn't know what he's talking about, he's a buffoon, He doesn't know what he's
family
he's
structure's
doing.
been in jeoprity.
It's been in
for a
jeopardy.
while.
Oh, yeah.
So you
Oh,
agree? You agree with what I'm saying?
I do. I agree with everything you're saying.
It's been in jeopardy
So
since
clear children lack clear authority. Discipline becomes inconsistent. Fathers disengage or are marginalized. They disengage. A lot of fathers do disengage. Mothers become overburdened.
Overstimulated.
Overstimulated, exactly. God is not the author of confusion. So 1 Corinthians 14:33, order equals inequality. Order equals
clarity.
Yep. Order equals clarity, not inequality. Accountability. The patriarchy, leadership is visible, all accountable, and failure has a clear owner. In matriarchy, authority can be diffused and responsibility is shared, but accountability gets unclear. Societies function best when someone owns the outcome, right?
And I think the man should own the outcome. I think that
And
I think it's extremely important to have a household that runs off patriarchy, but I think every household is different, and what might work for you and your family might not work for you and yours.
Well,
So
and
why do we have to call it matriarchy?
I agree.
I mean,
well,
Why does it matter?
why does it
right?
have to be that way?
I agree with that.
And look, I'm
I agree with that.
you know, when you guys were all when we started out, Rob's like, well, you're this and you're that, like in
Right.
terms of political. I'm like, I'm trans confused.
I'm trans confused.
What the fuck?
Cody,
I mean,
I'm stealing that. I'm totally stealing that.
That's a new term.
Trans
Trans
confused.
confused.
I mean, I think the
I believe in. I believe women should have. I mean, there's some women that probably could kick my ass. There's
Sure.
probably some
I mean,
that
I
can't.
think-
I
I
mean,
think-
the man law.
I think it's
He said, "Do you believe in man law?"
Do you believe in man law?
I believe that I would let a few women kick my own ass. I mean, it's fine.
When it kind of comes
At
down
the end
to
of
it,
the day, you know what I mean.
when it comes down to it, it's cost about masculinity and femininity. It says when men aren't required to lead, masculinity becomes passive or aggressive, right? Because they're trying to be dominating.
I don't care. You're
Which-
gonna run by my rules.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that means domineering. So that
Cringe.
means that God put a curse on men to be domineering
That's
over their
sick.
wives.
I hate that.
You hear what I just said?
I heard it.
So God put a curse when Adam and Eve decided to disobey God in the beginning in Genesis, that the men were to dominate their women if they weren't in God. Right?
I get it now.
So if they weren't in God, so if they weren't doing the right thing, and then women were to seek the
The opposite.
leadership of man because they wanted to be in the place of a man, so it wouldn't work out, right? So then this is where we are right now because a lot of men are not in God, and a lot of women aren't.
A
in
lot
God,
of men do not know how to lead.
and a lot of women aren't in God
Well-
as well. So wait, women carry emotional and logical weight alone in this position, right? And when women are forced to lead, then what happens is burnout rises, respect erodes,
Absolutely.
and resentment grows, and neither wins. Does that make sense? I don't
Oh,
wanna say
neither
this-
will win.
I agree.
So there's
But this
always
is-
going to be spiritual order. I'm so sorry, Rob.
You know, you're
Biblically, God establishes equal value and different roles.
But this is what I was saying about the societal shift of
Yes.
how men should be
Times have changed.
acting within the society. And again, I mean, I think as we've said, we all agree at the table that and I don't want to call it feminism, but
Just say it, bro.
but
That's what it
it's
is.
not, because women are equal to men. I mean, there are definitely subtle differences in what we do and how we do things, structure, scripture, that kind of thing as well. But it's the societal push from a narrative that doesn't speak to this or speak to what you're saying,
Yeah.
as far as, you know,
Wasn't me.
the majority of what is okay and what is going on and how this isn't an individual basis.
Yeah.
But it is in individual conversations, but
Yeah.
it's not what is publicized.
Yeah, and-
It literally, and I'm saying this as a man in America right now, the push is men suck. Men aren't good. It's like an anti-man
See,
campaign.
and
I'm
I
not
felt-
saying that's women. I'm
Yeah.
saying that's the presentation of society.
I think a lot of men can suck. I think a lot of men can't always lead, but I don't think that men and women are created equal. I think we are created different, and I think that we should embrace our differences.
Absolutely.
And we should lead our family together in our differences. You are built stronger than me. You are built to lead. You are built to be the man of our household, and I'm built to
100%.
nurture. I'm built to
100%.
create. I'm built to do these things,
100%.
and together
Yeah.
we win.
Yeah.
I can't win as a woman when you are so hyper masculine
Right.
that anything that I do that doesn't align with the way you believe, you resent me for.
So I think
domineering.
it is
And
a
I-
domineering. But
That's a
here's the
domineering
thing,
position.
though, and this goes back to social media again.
it all does.
It totally does. That's what.
Apparently it
But
does.
look where the hell we're at.
Yeah.
We're okay. So I had a guy one time, probably one of the best bosses I ever had. Oh yeah, best boss I ever had. The river gets to the end; it just doesn't go straight.
Okay.
So sometimes it goes to the right, then kick it back. Then it goes to the left, kick it back. Right now we are so far kicked off to this side where social media has owned our lives.
Yeah. We just
That
care
we
about all
have
the
to
wrong
get
shit.
it back.
Yeah. Well, I
I
mean,
mean,
and
look.
it's,
At the end of the day, you can be masculine or feminine, however you want. You can change. You can cut your wiener off today.
It's true.
you know, but I
I mean,
I mean,
you
you
can.
can't.
But
I mean, sorry.
That's
I
Yeah.
the world we
No,
it
you're-
is.
but-
I was
but
gonna
I-
say something, but
but I think the
Please
other,
don't, because I already screwed it up.
you know, but I think the other side to some of this as well is again, it's societal's directive and the narrative of society. You're still grounding yourself in the Christian biblical values.
Don't get on that side.
Well,
No,
I
no,
don't
no,
think
no,
she
no, no, no,
is.
no,
That's
no.
not
I'm not.
what
I'm
she
not.
told
No,
me.
Yeah,
no.
yeah.
She is from the traditional role perspective,
Right.
and what she's
Which
saying
comes
from that,
from
and
Christian.
believing that. I mean, she said, "I don't believe I'm superior to you, and or we're equal. We have different things that are our
We
strengths."
keep hearing this.
And I think that's
and-
okay.
And it is, and it is, and that's
That
but
women
that's-
and men are equal?
well,
Can I just
but it's
say this
but that's
from what he was just
but
saying.
that's what complements us, and that's what
I-
makes that partnership good.
That's
The
what I agree.
The problem is the loss of the partnership.
I know, but
within
biblically-
that growth.
Yes, I agree.
disagree.
No, I don't disagree with him at all. I don't. Matter of fact, I agree with him 110%.
But
If there's one thing that I think has made a big ripple in the way that we perceive things, is religion and man law do not always run the same. And they collide so bad
That's true.
at certain
Yeah, that's
points
very true.
Yeah.
where you are like
100%.
stuck between, am I Catholic or am I just normal?
Or am I?
Or am I way out of line? I'm going to hell next day if I die.
Wow.
I mean, that
Wow.
that is how look,
No, but
I've come from a little background of nothing,
yeah.
little countryside and little
Yeah.
house, whatever. I didn't sleep at night for many years thinking about things like this, right? You're a Catholic, you do this or you do this tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
And then you come into social media and now you get all this, I want to talk about anxiety ridden as hell, okay? But then when you all figure it all out, you sit back and you go, damn, it's just as simple as this.
yeah.
What is that simple? I don't know.
So the next topic we want to talk about is we want to talk about a time you felt alone, and this is to the men, and what helped you through it. And then we want you, Sienna, to come in at the end of that position. So we'll start with Rob.
Time I felt alone. Oh man, dude, that's
And what helped you through it?
so. That's a very loaded scenario because there are many times, at least for me, and I would imagine you men at the table could say the same, where you feel alone. And a lot of it is going back to some of the discussion that we talked about, the societal expectations of who we are, how we deal with things, and what we take on as men. You know, I could give you different alone scenarios at different points in my life between, being in high school, being in college, being in Arizona, being back in Wisconsin, being married, going through the divorce. I mean, there are many, many of them. And I think that my perspective on it is, I go back to that core five that I talked about.
Yeah.
That I don't know what I would have or how I would have come out of, and I'm going to use the divorce as the example because obviously that was the overall most life-altering thing for me. If I did not have those folks outside of my family, of course, I don't know that I would have gotten through some of the things that I got through, you know, and a lot of it is very similar, not necessarily directly with the topics that we speak on here, but it's having the dialogue, it's getting it out, it's having, you know, a non-related person,
Feeling
someone
comfortable.
someone without a vested interest in what you, I mean, I'm going to say, I mean, I went into therapy and it's crazy because I have a female therapist, which is fantastic. And Sarah, you're awesome. But the thing for me with her was the reinforcement of what your friends and family tell you that you're doing and the way that you're doing things.
The validation.
It is. And it's a validation from someone with no interest. I didn't know this lady from the hole in the wall right now, there, right here when I met her. And I laid everything out. First off, that was probably one of the times and very few times in my life that I have been 100% honest, telling them anything and everything, including stuff that other people or very, 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 very select few people know. But I went into that with that attitude of, that's the only way I know I'm going to get help is making sure that there is no secrets. There is nothing that I'm hiding, that you have anything and everything that I can laid out. So when you do give it back to me, I know it is 100% honest coming that way.
That's amazing, though.
That's huge.
So I think this comes with the emotional intelligence kind of that we were talking about earlier. But the aloneness, I mean, I'll be completely honest with you as it is now, being a 50-50 custody parent, only having my kids half the time. I'm now 4 years removed from the divorce being final. I still find myself lonely and alone at times because my kids aren't there, because of that gap, because I don't want to say that my identity has been built around me being a father, but it has been rebuilt after the divorce around that. Because of the impact the divorce has had on my children, because of the divorce that my parents went through that had on me. And the last thing that I wanted to do to my kids, speaking of being married in your 20s, I did not get married until I was in my 30s, and that was intentional. I made sure I got a lot of the let's go here in vacation, let's go do this, let's go do that out of my system to where when I was ready to settle down, I was ready to settle down.
Do you feel that helped out?
Oh, like from the functionality of the family perspective, absolutely no question. Because I was financially stable to be able to afford my children, for them to at least have what I felt was the bare bottom bones lifestyle that I wanted them to have.
But did it work?
Amazing.
Well,
It's amazing.
work
To hear that's
work,
amazing.
work, but
Truly.
you're talking about did me and my ex-wife work,
No,
not the foundation that I built,
no.
because that's where the relationship
you're
broke down.
saying.
The relationship didn't break down because of how necessarily I did what I did or what she did either. There were, and I don't even want to get into
Did the ideal work?
kinda
Is
what we
what I
were
was
talking
talking
did
about.
the ideal
That's what we were
before-
talking
So-
about earlier. It's not anybody's fault.
so I
Right?
mean,
It wasn't anybody's
well,
fault.
I mean, but that's
mean,
that's a loaded question.
I get
because-
it.
No.
But at the
Because-
end of the day, when you look back from a standpoint of where you want to be,
Okay,
if you looked at it from
if you look at where I am, I didn't make the choice to be where I'm at. The
Correct.
choice was made for me by somebody else because of
Correct.
their actions.
Exactly.
correct,
So you're asking a loaded question because do I see
think
where
you
I
are-
would have
you
been?
already
No.
answered. You were answering.
I
the
guess
question,
I guess
though.
I
Did
was
it
I
work?
guess I wanted to ask it in a different way and see if this helps. You wouldn't want it any other way.
Right now and the way things are, no.
Correct. So
When-
what I'm saying by that is there's always the naysayers. There's always the people that are going to tell you what they want you to hear or what they think is right for their scenario. But you had to fight it. You had to go through them stages
Yeah.
to be able to feel it the way it is today. And so at the end of the day, you could not you can't disregard the fact that everything you had in the past has put you right where you are today.
I am not taking any of that away because by
amazing.
all means, I know, and I'm going to use the very, very simple fact that I grew up in Kenosha. I went to school in Kenosha, and had I not got the opportunity to go to Arizona when I did, believe me, I will be the first person to tell you there is no way I would be where I am today without that opportunity.
Correct.
So I'm not taking away and I'm not disregarding the fact that everything happens for a reason. This goes back to
Absolutely.
you asking conjunctionally about did the plan work. So I knew where you were going. But you can have the greatest plan and no matter what, there's no way you can't guarantee it's ever going to work.
Yeah.
But the way that I approached my life through this situation was looking at how other people have gone through it, the mistakes that they've made, including friends of mine at my age and the opportunities that they gave up based off the decisions that they've made. And to make the best of what I had when I had that opportunity. But like I said, I do know that if I did not have that opportunity, there's absolutely no way that I would be where I am. And I don't regret anything. There might be one or two things in my life that I actually truly regret. Everything else, no way. Like you said, time, place, purpose, learning, go.
No.
Let's keep rolling.
Yeah.
And the things that I will say generically, because I mentioned it, that I do have reserves and changes in life were poor decisions that I made that hurt individuals specifically. And
Those hurt for
they do. And those people know who they are. Those people know that I took accountability for those situations because
that's
by all
very
means
important.
I did.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm not perfect.
None of us are.
I am one of those people that is a total lay it out, let it be. I'm going to tell you what I'm thinking the best that I can for the circumstances because I don't want to walk away going, what do or,
Yeah.
you know, and I like,
Yeah.
I don't want me having weight on me because of something that I felt I needed to say that I didn't say.
Absolutely.
That makes sense.
And
Yeah,
I don't want. I mean, you know this. I'm like a terrible over communicator.
huge.
You
Yeah.
could probably tell even
That's
by
my
talk.
problem.
By talk,
I say how I feel
Yeah,
and I
but-
feel what I say.
but
Yeah,
but at the
same way.
same time, that's okay for me because I'm a
Now it is.
I'm a transparent person.
That's
Absolutely.
huge.
And I know that.
Yeah.
And I know that I'm comfortable. So when someone comes to me and like, well, you said A, B, and C, like, yeah, I did say A, B, and C, and I know.
that's how I felt.
But let me ask you a
And-
question
yeah.
on that.
Yeah.
What were you always comfortable there?
No, I wasn't.
Fair. And that's where I give therapists and counselors a lot of respect.
Well, and I'm not even giving
Whether you like them or
nothing,
you
nothing
don't.
against you, Sarah. This isn't credit to her for
Yeah.
me
She
being.
was your
I've
soundboard.
I've always been
Yeah.
a transparent person
Yeah.
because I'm not a liar. I don't like to lie. I got too many
And you
thoughts running
probably
through my
respect
head.
transparency
I do.
yourself, which
I-
is why
like,
you show it to
and,
others.
And the way that I am, and I don't want to say this contributed negatively to my marriage, but I mean, I would tell this is what I'm doing, this is where I'm going. Like, I mean, I do that. Like,
Yeah.
I'll tell Rob, like, we're supposed to meet at 5. Like, dude, I'm 15 minutes away. Dude, I'm 10 minutes away. Like, and he's like, well, why the hell are you texting me? I don't care. I'll meet you there in
He
15 minutes.
over-communicates
But,
like
but I am.
crazy. Yeah,
but
it's
that's
crazy.
me.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
I want like this, like, because the other side of that is when something's off, you're gonna know it's off.
Absolutely.
And you're
There's no guessing. I'm just gonna
there's-
let you
yeah,
know.
you're just gonna be like
true,
you I mean
though.
you're like Rob, like, okay, Rob, something's off, man. Like, what's going on? Like, I can just tell. You can tell because that's how transparent I am.
Yes.
But as I mean,
Not
that's-
everyone likes
no,
that.
and it's
And
kind
that's
of
okay.
and it's kind of selfish
Yeah.
to say
I think
that
it's cool.
I appreciate
I love it, yeah.
I appreciate when people recognize those things
Mm-hmm.
because that's me hiding my problems. Someone saying, I see something ain't going right. Now I'm open.
Right.
Now I'm talking.
Yeah.
Now,
But you're not just gonna-
No, I'm not
yeah,
just gonna
come
puke
out
it
and-
out.
yeah.
But at the same time too, that also shows to me you actually care.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because you recognize there's a difference in what's going on with me, and you're like, dude, something's off. Like, what's
Yeah,
going
yeah.
on?
Like this weekend.
Yeah, like this weekend.
All right. So what about you, Cody? Thank you so much for sharing. Was there any more you wanted to share?
No, I mean not right now.
You
I'm
good?
sure I'll say something
You
else as we
good?
go
Okay.
through.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
Was that okay?
That was great. Hey, good job.
Yeah, well, I got to follow it. So why don't you ask
Right,
me
we
that?
should have ended with him.
So, a time you felt alone, and what happened to help you through it? Well, this one kind of fresh, so I'm gonna keep it short and sweet. But so, within the last couple of years, I've realized that I had sleep apnea so bad that it truly was causing a lot of anxiety through about 43 years of my life, because that's about how long I've been here. So, but to put it short and sweet, I had an experience this couple weeks ago where to prove people wrong on the fact that you've really corrected, if you will. You do some smart ass shit, and then you end up in a place where you're no longer in control of anything. So, had that. How did I get through it? Well, background, history, things like this. Learning about why things happen, and really, instead of taking a quick, I don't know, I guess a quick, just a quick scenario of your life, and look at it from a 3-week or a 4-week period versus a whole 43 years of it. And I think that's kind of what I learned from it. But at the end of the day, a time you feel alone, you're going to feel alone all the time. I mean, I don't care who you are. There's not going to be somebody next to you at every moment of your life. And if there is, you wouldn't want that. So what do you do about it? You just got to think and put trust and faith in the fact that you've been there before and you handle it just fine. So you can do it again. And I think that's the biggest thing is repetition, consistency.
Well, I think that's a good point you make with you've done it before, do it again.
You did it before.
I don't know how many times, and I'm going to generalize as a
it's
man
the most.
that you tell yourself, I've been knocked down. I'm going to get back. I mean, and
Fall
it's
down
almost,
7 times,
and that's-
stand up 8.
But and that's, I mean, and it's almost like when you get to the 43s, the 45s, and the or whatever, that you've been knocked down and get back up so much, some of that becomes numb.
You don't realize what
40s.
Here's the thing. When someone says trust, do you really know what that is? Faith, do you really know what it is? I don't know.
Do you?
I mean,
Yeah.
do you?
Yeah.
I think
I
that's
mean, faith to me was something way, way different in my 20s. Faith in my 20s was, this chute's going to hold me when I jump out of this plane. Now it's faith is, I've been there.
Yeah.
This shit ain't going to break me. You know what? Not everybody's on your team. They want to see you grow until you're on the top. Then they want to see you fall.
That's true.
They want to see you do good, but not better than you.
No, it's just the nature of the beast.
But
I mean, that's trust
Yeah.
but verify.
Yeah.
Trust but verify. Everybody wants to be your friend. Trust that, but verify it.
Verify it.
That's it.
Exactly. Why do they want to be your friend?
Why? There's always a why.
So crazy.
Everybody's got a why. And if
like
you don't
the
have a
story of
why,
my
you
life.
might want to find it, because otherwise your life is probably going to be a little hard. That's all I got.
Get excited
On
what
that
about
one.
you?
This is
You go
your
first. You go,
stage.
Rob.
Yeah, no, I'm
Time
out.
on you. Time you felt
time
alone.
I felt
and how-
alone,
and what helped you through.
What helped me through it? I remember the first time I felt alone I remember it vividly. I was like 5 years old.
Oh, you're bringing it all the way back.
I was like 5 years old. That's the first time I felt.
You were 5.5.
I was
dude,
like-
I remember it.
Yeah, so Cody remembers it. So I was like 5.5 years old or whatever. Cody remembers it, and I was playing outside with my friends, and there was a song that came on because we used to watch this thing called Turner Classic Movies.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if
TCM.
you guys TCM, right? So my grandparents used to watch
That's
that
how old we are.
all the time, right? So they were in the 1980s. They died. They were like 86 years old or whatever have you. And I was young, but I remember there's this it's my party and I can cry if I want to, cry if I want to, right? And that song was on, or that existed in that position. And I was like, man, it was crazy because I didn't see my dad for a long time at that point. And my mom was there and I loved her, but I know my mom didn't understand who I was because I was a young boy. But I understand that she loved me and she cared about me and she wanted me to have the best. But she still, even because she was so loving, hugs, kisses, and she would always tell me, hey, you're a king and blah, 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 and all this other stuff. But I knew she didn't understand me at that young age, at 5 or 6 years old. And I remember I was at a tree. I was on a tree and I slid down. I was like, it was a movie and I was like, oh, I'm gonna cry. So I started crying. I was crying And I was like, I was thinking about that song.
Singing
It's
the
my party. It's
song,
my
yeah.
cry if I want to. And I was like, it wasn't my party. And it was a hot summer day. And it was crazy because like a lot of the kids that were in my area, they were Caucasian. And then there was this one mixed girl that was there. And I was like, man, no one understands me. And it's like, I feel really alone. And then something told me, like, God understands you. You're okay. Get up. You're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. And then I got up and I was like, I'm going to be good. And, every time that I felt alone, every time that I felt bad, every time that I felt that, I was by myself, I realized that God was there with me in that position. And I had to search for, how do I get closer to God? What does that look like? And just recently, I know I just went through some losses within this last year or two. And every time that I feel alone, every time that I feel that I'm disconnected and I don't have anything, or that, man, life isn't what I want it to be, I have to always remember, like, about the things that, like, that God has for me. I can walk. I can speak. I can intellectually have a conversation with somebody. I can make friends. I can, snap out of it. I can go outside right now. I don't have to stay right here in my living room. So the biggest thing for me that helped me through that was definitely God in that position. But when I was younger, I didn't understand that. And I think I relied on it as myself or whatnot. So that's what I wanted to share.
That's good.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
You brought it all the way back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're 2'5", dude.
What?
That's only 20 years ago for you.
That was actually about 15 years ago. Now go ahead. Go ahead, Sienna.
Oh, I thought I was just gonna reflect on what you guys were gonna
Oh,
say.
Well, yeah. I mean,
Reflect, or if you want to share.
No, I
We
mean,
prefer to share.
I mean, I think, at least just me speaking for myself, I think there's many, many times I felt alone in life. So, I mean, I could bring it all the way back to 5 and I could bring it back to 2 weeks ago. But I think that kind of based off of, piggybacking off of what Cody said, I mean, I think we do all feel alone. And I think that it is just important for you to remember, like, you come in this, and this is what I tell myself all the time. You come in this world alone and you leave this world alone. And the people that are around you, their life doesn't revolve around you. Mm-hmm. It's up to you to make best of your life. Your happiness doesn't depend on anyone else's happiness. I can't expect for you to make me happy. I can't expect for you to add something to my life. Everything that you guys add is extra. And it's not needed, and it's not mandatory.
Well, and
it's extremely refreshing as a male to hear that. Well, it's more refreshing than anything you can say.
I mean, I think that that's a very good point that you make, and I think that that's part of what is lacking in society.
Correct.
Is the individual look where you're at, look what you
just
have in front of you, and
start looking forward instead of
just
now,
look acknowledge
now.
today. Look at today. Look at the fact that
Rob said it. I can speak.
Yeah,
I can walk.
I can hear. I can feel.
Hear.
Yeah,
I can feel.
Even
the
ability to feel and have free will.
The most basic things we take for granted.
Social media is taking all that so far.
It always goes back to
like,
social
God
media.
Damn it. It does. It
does.
It just pisses me off. Rob, I'm going to throw your phone because mine, I need it.
Yeah, no. I think Rob was scared there for a second.
He
That's
was.
his baby.
I wasn't really that scared.
He knew I wouldn't throw it.
No, I think everyone takes being alone differently. I think when you're alone for so long, which I feel like I have been alone for so many different parts of my life, I thrive in it.
Function without. Well,
I think there's different. I think there's different feelings.
Yes or no? That's a yes or no
I don't think
question.
it's a yes or no question.
I agree with you.
I think that there are periods like, am I alone? Am I alone? Technically, no. Technically, I'm not alone. But
I think you
do I feel alone sometimes, even though I'm not alone? Yes. And you can be surrounded by people and still feel alone.
Correct.
So I think that it's not a yes or no, black or white answer. At least for me.
I agree. I agree.
You
with
know,
you.
like I feel like there's different, but it doesn't matter, because whether I'm alone or I'm surrounded by people, I'm going to thrive regardless, because my success doesn't
It's not determined
on-
by
yes.
somebody else's
when do you
actions.
when do you think you self-discovered that, or maybe you?
I think I discovered that at a very young age.
Good for you.
I think that I learned how to thrive in my solitude at a very young age.
So do you think that's one of the most important things you could sell?
Absolutely.
I do too.
I think that is one of the most important things that you can do, is to be comfortable
By yourself
in
alone.
isolation.
Yep,
100%.
I agree.
Because
And I
then
think that's
everybody
the
else
biggest-
just adds, and I don't expect anything from you. And it's definitely trauma response. Is like, I don't expect anything from anybody.
What's the
so you
trauma
can never
response?
She's been
that
through it.
idea.
She's been through
I
it.
don't expect anything from you.
We've all been through it. That's the thing.
So you can't disappoint me. Because I don't expect anything
The
from
only
you.
one who's gonna
In
disappoint
fact,
you is you.
Absolutely.
well, that's like offended.
Yeah.
You can never be offended.
No.
You are or you're not.
I can definitely be offended.
Why?
Well, yeah.
You
I
know,
think
try it right now. I'm pretty sure if you try hard enough, I'm gonna be offended. But like, hey, listen, Cody, you don't talk to me like that
If
right
it
now.
came from me, Rob would not be offended. Let's just put that on the camera. Right?
He said,
Came from
"Not
me, Rob would be
true.
like,
It's not true. The things they say, they're all lies."
No, they do actually hurt. But if you really, again, going back to
was gonna say something
self-actualization,
crazy.
all the rest of it, when you really know yourself, like you said,
when you're confident in yourself, nothing anyone
then
can
it's
say
either
or
you
do
are or you're
or
not.
Yeah.
It's
But,
not-
but how
can't
do
be
you really
offended.
know yourself? I guess is the question too.
I think
by
Well,
being
it's-
by
I
yourself.
I think by
and
doing
by
this,
being by
and
yourself.
it's like she said, it depends upon the stage that you're in and what you're dealing
At
with.
the end of the day,
Rob,
like
I will
what,
tell
you
you
know
this.
what this is what I'll tell you. No, this is what I'll tell you is what I will say.
I'm going to be more confident after this
Mhm.
than
You
I
should
was
be.
the last couple
You
days.
should be.
What
So
I
I told
will-
you first.
You should be.
What I will say is that you know what I feel that when you go through different situations, you can be really confident, right? And I think that when I was growing up, being young in that position, because I told my mom afterwards, you know, what I was feeling and things of that nature or whatever. When I told you guys about my story about being alone, you know, and she built confidence up for me, which was great. My father did, my aunts, my uncles did, and they were like, "Oh, you're great," and all this other stuff like that. So then when I encountered a situation in my life, then I was a little less confident about myself, because it's like, you know what, I was unsure about, you know, how I was or who I was and what I stood for and what this looked like, because everything was attacking that position, but I had to look at the facts of what was actually going on. And then I said, okay, the facts of what's going on is like, well, this is what happened, so on and so forth. People are going against what I feel who I am, but I understand that that's not true. But, you know, it still got me down though, right? Because I wasn't that confident in that position, even though I knew that what was coming at me wasn't true, and it had no standing
Yeah.
whatsoever, and that took me down from where I was at. So it's like I didn't know that always,
Yeah.
you know, at that position. So I had to reevaluate what was going on and what happened. So you can get knocked off of where you were, even though you know and you see it logically in that position, but it's about coming back to that position and like asking those questions, because I think that's healthy.
Absolutely.
Asking those questions like, well,
100%.
am I really doing the right
Yeah,
thing?
yeah.
Checks
Am
and
I
balances.
doing this position? You know, what does that look like? And then asking the question and seeing the evidence in that position, and then even going from the position where you figure you knew what was going on, and looking a year down the line
So you were
or
wrong.
2 years down the line and saying like, you know what, maybe I could have did this differently,
Correct.
but that still did not equivalent, like that didn't what is that word? Equate to
the
exactly
repercussion.
what was going on.
Right.
Because that wasn't true and that wasn't real. So I was still that person. I think a lot of people can equate to that, right? Or feel that.
Yeah.
But some people can't at that position. But you have to be honest with yourself. You can't have a facade of who you think you are.
Of course, because the universe doesn't respond to who you portray yourself to be.
No.
The universe responds to who you truly are. And that's why I love being transparent, because I'm not going to leave any conversation wondering or overthinking, because I said I was
not
my
fair to
true-
you.
I was
Yeah.
my authentic
But-
self.
but
You,
this-
you take me as
correct.
I am, or you
And
watch
it's not
me
fair
as
to
I go.
you. And
That's-
that's the selfish aspect you have to take in life sometimes.
It's not fair to you to have to walk away from a conversation and not know if they're on the same page. That's not fair to you. It's not fair to them, and it's not fair to you. So if you're not right at that point, then it's okay for you to extend the conversation a little longer. And I think that's where, look, I've been known to talk my whole life, like too much. Well, fuck you. I mean,
Oh, jeez.
Damn, another one
they can
out
erase
the
that.
window.
But I mean, honestly, they can take that out, right? I mean,
Yeah,
at the end of the day,
we're good,
no, I'm
we're
talking
good.
about life in general, though, too.
Yeah.
Different things happen.
Yeah.
But it's the consistency, it's the groundwork, it's
There's
the
waves of all
over.
of it, of
Yeah.
confidence,
Rob,
of loneliness, of
I
self-awareness.
appreciate you putting this on here because
Well, I think
it's not easy.
the point you made about the different stages where I was doing this and I was totally lonely, and then I mean,
Yeah. They come
this
and go.
this goes back to, like I said,
come and go.
I
They better.
waited until I was
If
in
they're
my,
always
late 20s, early 30s to really get serious about family and marriage and that kind of stuff, and that's part of the reason.
Yeah.
And
Would you have-
let's just play generics, okay? I obviously was self-sufficient up to the point until I met my wife, okay? And then I was married to her, and then we got divorced, and now I'm right back to self-sufficiency.
Mm-hmm.
It was like no change. There was this different change.
Did
in
you
the
guys
middle.
find yourself at the right time?
I
mean, that's what happens.
we're that's a
No,
whole
that-
that's a whole
no,
nother
for
fucking
real, you
episode.
saw
No. I'm not talking about at that time in your lives. You found yourselves at the right time for what you needed at that time in your life.
Crazy.
I said that wrong.
No.
I know
Yeah,
I know
something
what you're saying.
What you
something
needed,
else.
because for me, after finding out how much anxiety you had and how much of a change that you made in such a short period of time, you look back and you're going, would I have done what I did then?
Oh, I mean,
I think
you-
hindsight
Right?
is always
And
2020.
but here's
There's-
what
there's- I mean,
here's
there's
where
no-
here's
there's
where
no question.
psychology puts it in place. So here's where psychology puts it in place, which made me get a little bit of an epiphany on why we call all this shit midlife crisis. Is it truly a midlife crisis, or did we set us up for failure from the beginning? Right? Because at the beginning, we come out of college, we're broke, we're looking for confidence, we're looking for that second half, right? And we find it, but then a year or two later, you found it on your own. So now all of a sudden you're dragging dead weight, if you will.
Oh, that's good.
That sounds really terrible,
That's good.
but it's really true.
I think it's good.
And then all of a sudden, before you know it, you're 40-some years old and you're going, I don't even know this girl. Or I don't even know this guy. Well, why would you? You found him. And by the way, it was perfect at the time. It's not imperfect. It was perfect.
You
Well,
just
sure.
out.
It's
yeah.
just no longer
no
perfect.
no one ever goes into a marriage thinking they're going to walk out getting divorced.
But why don't
You
we
know?
tell? But why don't we tell the next generation that?
Even though
Well,
the
no,
we don't.
statistics show.
We don't.
But I mean, I'm telling my kids that.
You do now.
women-
But
what
the-
is it?
But
but
that's what we
76%
needed. We needed
women.
that self-correct. We
Ask
needed
for
this
divorce
time period right now.
after
We
they get
needed
married.
this shit to happen.
I was going
Like
on another
technology
statistic of
stages is
over
saving
50%
our
of marriages
lives
end in divorce. But yeah,
because
that too.
We had
I
to
don't
go
know
into
that one,
social
though.
now.
76 is women.
And it saves us. It takes us back. It's either that or we
Okay,
completely
you're supposed to
implode.
fact check
Yeah.
the other one too, but
I
you never
I
got
don't
back
see
to
it
me.
any other way. We either
Which one?
figure out that we have to do more of this,
Well, I mean,
or we retract and we blow up
and I
as a
think
human
I mean
being.
that's the thing is even talking about the
bathroom is my
temperature in
best friend.
society as a whole, and where we're at with this and where it should be and where it could be, you know.
Yeah,
But
No,
Yeah.
what is it that I'm supposed to look for again?
it's fine. We
What was
can
it again?
just.
No, because I want to be valid. What was it?
It was the amount, the rate of women that ask for divorce.
oh well, again, this goes back to the archaic systems.
Yeah,
It's built for you to leave.
yeah.
Right? And we talked like I'm a at fault divorce person. I'm not against child support. I understand that it balances households.
Yeah.
And if I'm not paying my ex child support, it's fucking Disneyland at my house.
No, I think that.
But so I understand that aspect. What I don't appreciate is she cheated on me and took half my shit.
yeah, that's wrong.
That's bullshit.
No, that's wrong. Yeah.
That's
why-
you decide you made that decision to ruin this. None of my stuff should be yours.
I agree, and I think
This
that
isn't-
is
he's not gonna ruin
why
this.
I
left.
think that's important for people to make a prenup. I think there's a
No,
communication on people
Okay.
making prenups and thinking that they are only for rich people. Absolutely not. You're either going to make a prenup, and I'm going to decide what's
And
going to
an
happen
NDA. And an
amicably
NDA.
while we love each other.
And an NDA.
And NDA is crazy.
No,
but
NDA's
I know what
good.
it-
But
No, it's
the
not crazy.
problem with
NDA
that
goes
is
along
the
with
problem.
it.
The problem with
Sure.
the problem with that is exactly like I said. You don't go into the marriage or the union anticipating a divorce.
You don't, but you should always. And again, this is maybe just the things
mean,
that I've been through. But personally, you're either going to make a prenup and do it yourself while you are amicable with your partner and you love them and you don't want to take half
that
of all
way if
of
the
their
shit
things.
hits the fan,
so when
it's-
shit hits
the
the fans, I
emotions are
hate
out.
you.
The
So now I want to
emotions
take
are
you
out.
for
The
everything you
emotions
got.
are out.
Exactly. And people act with emotion versus now I hate you. We have no prenup and I'm going to let the court decide. And the judge could be a man or a woman and they could lean this way or that way. And maybe the judge doesn't like you because you said a certain comment and now they can dictate what's happening with your legacy. And I think that that's wrong. If a man has 50-50 custody of his kids, there should be no child support. It doesn't matter what the
Well, no, but
This is where the issue
it
is.
does because
it
because
doesn't matter what the living
So
situation
I'm
is.
gonna
You
end
brought
it-
this
I'm
up
gonna end
earlier,
it-
though.
but I make-
You
I'm
brought
gonna
this
end
up
this
earlier.
with
This is where
I'm gonna end it with this right here. It says about 66 to 70% of divorces are initiated by women. Several studies and legal research consist of reporting on this pattern. That
Why does
roughly
this matter, though? I'm just wondering,
Well, I mean,
what's the
'cause
significance of this statistic?
You asked me for that
No,
question. You said the rate of women who ask for divorce.
well, you told me fact checked it, and then you wanted to show me, so then I just went along with
So,
it. But I just want to know
answering it.
So
Some reports show that among college-educated women, the percentage can be even higher, with women initiating up to 90% of the divorce in those groups. And then,
which I think there's a strong correlation for that. Of course, a more educated women.
now we
they
have to
a higher
remember that
chance of
these
getting a
are
job.
these
Yes.
are these are
But this-
statistic trends.
but then this goes back to the
not morally judgments.
This comes back to
What is the
at what point
significance of it, though?
at what point does the woman make more money than the man? Then the man is now emasculated.
none of that matters.
Divorce is,
In my
Agree.
opinion.
What
But-
does
but
it
the-
matter?
but the-
What is the
but
significance? I agree.
Okay, but you're saying that on a personal level. He's reading the statistics that speak the opposite of what we're saying. That's the issue. The issue is. The issue is 60 to 70, up to 90 of college-educated women file for divorce. This goes
90%,
this
yeah.
this goes back to like
you
I
could
said.
make the agreement. You
Divorce?
could make. You are right. You are saying that. I think we're saying the same thing. That could also.
I don't
be,
know what we're saying. I think we're a little.
Well, what he's saying is that maybe it's because it's too flopped. Women are scared to get divorced because they're too trended on men
No.
over time.
It's
Think about
I don't
that
think
for a
women
second.
are scared.
I don't think so either.
it's what I was saying earlier about how when
Women
a
are
woman
not
begins
scared
to
to
In
get
fact, I feel
divorced.
like they're
Okay.
more
So-
empowered now than ever.
when the woman starts to
100%.
take on
That supports what I'm
the
saying.
primary role or the
90%
primary
role.
breadwinner role.
Well,
Yeah.
This
file for
is where
divorce.
you
Correct.
see that shift of emasculating the man because now he's not the breadwinner.
Yeah.
Now he's not the number one in the household. The woman is because she's the one making the money.
Yeah.
She's the one with primary income that's driving the household.
Correct.
This is what I was saying before
I don't think
about
money
how now
always matters.
No,
though.
but it's
No, it
it's
doesn't.
the position.
Well,
It's
money doesn't always matter.
It's
Right.
it's the
Yeah.
it's the
No.
the power of what you do compared to the other's stance. And these statistics speak
I think-
to exactly what I said about when a woman reaches that level above a man, she no longer needs him.
I don't think that-
you now add
I
no
think
value
the
to him.
man. So, and this is where I think
There's an
we
insecurity
disagree.
of the man, is what she's saying.
Absolutely. I think that, okay, generics. We've got a situation, woman makes more than man. Okay, so I'm making more than you. I might need you. So I'm making more than you now, but before I wasn't. And I was cooking more and I was cleaning more and I was picking up the load of all of the kids.
Sure.
Now I make more than you. And I am the breadwinner and I am paying a little bit more of the bills. So maybe you should probably pick up a meal or two.
Yeah.
And you should probably pick up around the house a little bit. And you should probably take more responsibility for the kids. And a man feels emasculated by that, so they don't want to do it.
No,
Yeah, but
you're
there's-
wrong.
there's a
You're
reason-
No,
absolutely
a
wrong.
real man won't. But an insecure man that
Real
has
man? That's
I-
very strong language right there. Saying that a real man may have a
Yes.
problem
a,
with that,
a real man will not have a
or
problem.
won't have a problem with that.
A real man
I
will
think-
not have an issue
I
with
think-
that. A
I think
man
serving is
that
important.
is insecure
Yeah, but you have-
will have an issue
Ser-
with that.
serve-
But here's
serving
where it
is
goes-
And I
important.
stand by
Here's
that.
where it
To
goes back to
serve-
social
to
media.
serve
though.
the other
So
person.
it's-
But
is
here's where it
Back
goes.
to
It
social
goes
media.
right back to social media, Rob.
It does.
And you live it every day, and we all do. And it's starting to disgust the hell out of me.
So
to
we've
be
come
honest
to
with
the
you.
conclusion
Because if
that
you
social
think about
media is the root of all evil.
it has been for the last 20 years. There's no doubt. Since 1999, when the cell phone became a smartphone, it has become an issue. There's no doubt. And the reality of it is, when you guys go back to the masculine and feminine and all the bullshit, we're all feminine right now if we stay on social media. It's
We're
just what
all
it is.
masculine and feminine. I think that people are
But
feeding off each other.
in
And
the
I
way,
think that's
okay, all right, let's go back.
Well, no, I
let
don't-
me
I don't-
rephrase
I
it. Let me
think that's
rephrase
okay.
this. By definition of masculine and feminine, we have all become feminine. Everyone. If you think about it, social media has taken us away from the fact that we are no longer being able to distinguish ourselves from one to the other, whether that's
I think
masculine,
men
feminine,
have
or
become
anything.
a little bit more feminine, and I think women have become a little bit more
That's
masculine.
correct.
I do.
And then
And
at the
that
end of
is
the
a
day-
social media thing that has caused that, in my
I
opinion.
think it's a societal thing.
I
It's,
think
it's
it's a
not.
societal
It's
thing
not
as
just
well.
social media
But what
because
is-
at the
what
end
is
of the day,
society
what
doing?
it comes down to is, I would say, Cody, is that social media plays a big part in it,
Absolutely.
but societal ideas and
Why you're doing this
engineering and blah blah blah, it comes down to the position of like men need to be more feminine, and that men are feminine and masculine at the same time.
Men are too feminine. They need to be
They're
more
feminine
masculine.
and
Yeah,
masculine.
but
But I mean, at the end of the day, like that's
Women
what
don't want
society.
that.
That's
Rob,
what society
Rob,
says.
Women
But
don't
no,
want
no,
men
no,
to be
no.
That's why you
wait,
guys are
wait,
doing this
wait,
podcast,
wait.
and
So,
that's why I love 'em.
so at the end of the day, what it comes down to is
talking.
masculine is men are going to be men at the end of the day. They have some
man
traits.
law.
Men need to be men at the end of the day.
If men are going to have traits as women, that means
call
that
it the
they're
man law, Robbie.
that means that they're acting feminine. It doesn't mean that they are feminine.
Correct.
But it means that they're acting feminine and they're doing things and they're letting their woman run their household, right? Because at the end of the day, what it comes down to is that I think a man and a woman should run the household together, but the man should be the leader, the ultimate decision maker. And that's what God's word says at the end of the day. It's not because what I want, but it's what it is. And going down to the statistical trends of what we're talking about, not moral judgments, divorce is a complex decision influenced by many factors: emotional, practicality, financial, and rational. The statistical doesn't mean that one gender is more right and the other is wrong, but it simplifies or reflects documented patterns in how divorce is initiated in modern society. At the end of the day, what it comes down to is that men are going to be men, but some are weaker and some are stronger.
And we
And
can't- but-
how can you become a stronger man? I think is the biggest thing. And then at the end of the day, it goes the same for the woman. How can you be? Some women are weak, some women are strong, and how can you become a stronger woman? But does it mean that what we're teaching in society? Does it mean getting a career, being a boss person, and making all the money, or does it mean that we're trying to focus on our family, our community, and what that looks like? Who knows, right? I think I do know. But at the end of the day, like that goes against society norms of what we're going on, because at the end of the day, it's like society is teaching women and men to go to college. Men are dropping out at dramatic rates. They're saying college is a farce, meaning that it's not real. It's not something that men want because they don't see the benefit of what college brings to them. Besides, if you're a doctor, a lawyer, right,
Yeah,
and
it's
so on and so forth.
anti-intellectualism.
And then at the end of the day, and then
Especially
where are those jobs going to
over the
be
last
at?
20 years.
Yeah.
And where are those jobs going to be at? So we lost 88. No. We lost 88,000 people last year, men and women in tech jobs alone. 88,000 people were lost in jobs. What does that mean for our society? I mean, AI took over in a big, dramatic way.
Absolutely.
What does that mean for men and women later on? So now, what we also seen in this year in 2025 is that women have lost more jobs than men have, and we have more women in our society and in Western society right now. And then more men are finding more jobs than women are. And is that and that's like another podcast.
So they're
but-
smart.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Well, more men.
Some
Well,
are.
more men have found more jobs than women have, and women jobs are getting eliminated. And I mean, I think what it's coming down to is that there's going to be a shift in the next like 3 to 5 years. What that looks like, we don't know. Are men better than women? No. Are women better than men? No. But I believe that we need to work together, and we need to find out how
That
we
part.
work together, and what does it look like to
whole-
work together
The whole
in that position.
patriarchy, what are we? What should we be? What shouldn't we be? It's like all irrelevant to me, and it's just like it's just like taking away from the actual problem here, and it's like working together. That's all it is. Like you benefit me and I benefit you, and you bring out the best in me and I bring out the best in you, and the things that you can't do I can do. And the things that I can't do you can do.
Sure. But from what you're saying is a completely logical, common sense perspective, and society doesn't function that way.
No. They don't
Society doesn't say
Well,
that.
why
well,
don't they
but
function that way?
Well,
Because
I
of
think-
the
because of toxic
matriarchal-
masculinity, I feel like, because men are
Did she just say
supposed
toxic
Yes.
masculinity?
Oh no,
I do,
You
because
think
men are
toxic
supposed
Hold
to-
on, hold on.
men-
Provide an example of toxic masculinity.
toxic masculinity.
the idea that you have to be so hyper masculine in order to be a man. And like so
But I don't think that's the case.
But-
I think what I think that's a
I feel like
We're-
That's a
men are
nar-
We're
supposed
about to
to
stop this podcast
men-
a little bit.
Hang
but you
on.
said toxic
good. No. And I
Here-
don't
here's what I'm saying
listen,
on that.
I'm
Let her-
not
let her-
this
let her-
huge.
let her go, let
I'm
her
not
go.
this
Totally
huge
get what she's going.
feminist.
No,
I'm
no.
not. It's not about all
get
of
what
that.
she's saying,
It's
though.
just that men are supposed to be leaders, and when a man cannot lead, women
We
have
can't-
to be single mothers, and women have to do this, and women have to be hyper independent. And really, if men get their act together, this is why I love the podcast. This is why I told you I love the podcast. If men get their act together, women will follow.
Hear me out. On
Women
this one.
are an issue right now, and so are men. But if men can just figure out how to lead, figure out how to gain emotional intelligence,
We can't.
figure out the things that they need to do, women will follow. It's natural. Men, it's a natural thing for men to be leaders and for women to follow. I cannot follow you if I do not trust you. I won't follow you if I don't
Sure.
trust
We-
you.
I
I'm
wouldn't
not
expect
gonna-
you to.
I'm not going to
We-
follow
we
you
can't.
because you're a man.
We can't with social media.
I want to follow you because you're a man. Social media.
You can't.
I want to
You
follow
cannot
you,
do it
but if
with
I
also-
can't trust you, I'm not going to follow you
Do you know
just
that
because you're a
Australia?
man.
Do you know
like
Australia
you
just
said,
banned it?
Society says I
Really?
can't be a toxic masculinity that
Did you
want.
just say
But
really?
and I think you guys,
because-
even
but
the way you
it's,
look,
but it's the balance. The problem
You know
is
that?
is
Australia
the
just banned
repercussions
it?
for us offending one of you are a lot greater than the repercussions
They
of
did,
one of
though.
you offending
They did.
us.
I don't
see-
even agree with that.
No, but
bring that back in.
I feel like there's a negative
right.
stigma, like even how he was like,
You can't do
you
it
know,
with social media.
toxic masculinity. Like you guys both like got
Yeah,
wide
well,
eyed
yeah,
on
no,
me.
no, no, but that's what
But
I'm
I
saying.
feel like it's you guys are too. I been around you a few times now. I've had a lot more conversations with you guys. You guys are what I would consider. Cody, there's nothing against you.
Metro.
I just don't know you as much, so I can't speak.
Metro.
But but you guys are men I would consider to be good men.
Correct.
Trustworthy, leading men. But not all men are like that. So you shouldn't be offended.
Well,
You're
we're
in our
not
camera.
we're
You're
not
in our
we're not
camera.
offended in the sense that you use the word toxic masculinity so much as that's men like us are called toxic.
Yeah.
So you're telling us to act the way that we just hear me out.
Yeah.
You're asking us to act the way that we are here. And we are acting the way here because this is an okay place for us to do that.
Absolutely.
If we walk out those doors and act like this, we ain't going home tonight.
Because some people don't understand
going home.
men and
I own my own business.
men and women alike.
Go home, too.
There's misrepresentations and everything. There are women that would take what you say and do maybe as toxic.
Sure.
It's but you
100%.
can't. I always say, and maybe it isn't the nicest. You can't fix stupid.
No.
You know,
But-
like so. It's just
but-
like you.
Yeah, but it's not. Here's the thing. You've taken. We talked about this. You've taken history. It's like
We
it's
can't
like-
even hear
it's
you,
like-
Cody. You gotta.
Cody,
So it's like
sit down.
I forget we're still on camera. So it's like being 20 years ago. If you were in shape, you were 185 pounds a male. Now you're in shape at 215. We haven't changed for the history. It's no different than this.
Yeah.
We can't be masculine when you have social media. It's impossible.
Oh no.
But he has. A
Is
point.
it not
He has
impossible?
He does
how
have a
how
point
can you be
to what he's saying.
masculine?
He keeps saying
Masculinity.
it,
Let's
but
talk about
he does
masculinity.
have a point.
Masculinity means that you can out wrestle the next guy. That's the man law. It is what it is.
Everything goes.
If
back
you
to
have a
man law
cheeseburger and I
on
don't,
social media.
you have money and I don't, you have all the money in the world, but I have a cheeseburger. I'm going to get your money. Fair?
If I get the cheeseburger,
I mean,
That's
you
fine.
think he gonna
But
get
the
cheeseburger,
reality
you
is you're not going to get my
Getting my
fucking
money for no
cheeseburger.
reason.
You're not about to get
So
his cheeseburger.
that's what. So as somebody that was fortunate enough to run retail stores and have every culture you ever had
Yeah.
in your stores, when you go in the back of your store and you have 2 Russian women, okay, talk to them like we're talking now. You will understand that there is a man law. You go and talk to a guy who comes from Brazil that's 10 years younger than you, that they were dropping death bombs into their freaking
Yeah.
shit to try to blow up the submarines because they couldn't get the produce through. It's for people to get fed.
yeah,
Okay? What I'm saying is I agree with you more than you can imagine.
I could see
The
that,
reality
too.
of it
I could
is-
see that too.
We have a social media issue.
no, we do. I agree.
Okay? So we can sit here as a podcast and talk about why men are.
Yeah,
Look,
yeah.
men are trying to be what they were 100 years ago with a whole different battleship in
Yes.
front of
Yeah.
them. Okay?
Yes.
Like we talked
So,
about.
Switch
so
it up.
this is
The
why
way-
we
the
do
way-
this.
Adapt.
Is
We-
look
It's
when
adaptability.
I called Rob today and I said, "Can you send me a podcast, one of these, so I can see what the questions were?" And then I'm like, "You know what? That was a dumb question. Just send them at me."
Yeah,
Okay? You're a very bright woman.
Very.
These 2 are very,
Yeah.
very guys.
Yeah.
Very. He is.
I think we're all sitting here going,
you are too.
"Damn,
Thank you.
we're all on the same page."
Yeah, we are. I
Right,
think
and
we
I
agree
trust
on
me,
a lot
you know,
for the most part.
I have women friends that are like, "Oh, I could never kick your ass because you're just a man." I don't give a shit if you can kick my ass or not. The reality is, you can outsmart me, maybe.
That's why poison is
You
the
might not-
choice for women
Correct.
because we're not
Give 'em-
strong.
Right,
Give-
that's why you
actually,
get
it's
other
quicker
girls
if
eating
infi-
disorders.
infi-
instead
you
of
just
just
gotta
getting
get
out
it
there.
Oh,
but-
wait,
but
if we're
that's
talking
my
about
point.
we're talking about suicide.
I don't think you can get masculinity out of social media. It's just not possible.
Well, if we're talking about suicide, men are 90% more
Correct,
likely
because they're all not.
to
Yeah, they
to
are.
to commit suicide and accomplish it
Because they can't
when
establish
women
masculinity
are,
when
when
they're
they're like at 40% or whatever, so on and so forth. So I mean, I think at the end of the day, there's a lot of statistics that are here.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't agree with what's going on and so on and so forth. But in what I asked in my last podcast, and I'll say this and we're gonna wrap it up, is that if men, and we're talking about leaders or just men collectively, decided that women were not going to be able to make the decisions that they make or do the things that they do or have the laws that they have right now, what would women do about those things? And at the end of the day, we don't live in a society like that, and we don't want to say that, hey, you know,
We're
that
going
this
back
is
to the
we're going to
barbaric
go back
ways.
to that because it's not fair, and that's not what God wants. God doesn't want that, right? But at the end of the day, if that did happen, what would women do? They would have to deal with that position, and they would try to fight against that position. But if you're talking about leaders and men who decided to make that decision, they would have to go with whatever that means, because at the end of the day, there would be nothing that women could do in that position. We know that that's never going to happen because this isn't the life that we live in. We don't live in that life.
Right.
That's not what actually is going on. But at the same time, we have to understand that we have different roles, different responsibilities, and we have to love each other. We have to respect each other, and we have to see that we have to work in this world together, even though that we're
Yes.
always at odds ends and we're beating each other up on social media, and men against women are better. Hey, it's a what is this?
Well, I
hot
mean,
girl summer
but if
or
you-
whatever
but
it
if you-
is.
but
Right?
if
One
you-
wins, one loses.
If you,
But
if
at the
you
end of the
look at-
day, it's like if you're wanting a real man and you want someone that's going to protect you and so on and so forth. Like if I have there's a woman that's, let's be honest, if there's a woman that's making, let's say that she's making $150,000, right, and I'm making 175. You know, do I want that woman? If I do, why? If I don't, why? Why not? And I think those things are those are great questions to have in that position. And what does that look like? Who lied to us back in the day, right? Who lied to men
history is just history.
and who lied to women? But anyway, this is a great podcast, guys. I want to say
Yeah.
thank you guys so much
Yeah.
for coming out,
Thank
and
you,
we can keep
Cody.
going on and
Appreciate
on.
it.
Thank you, Cody. Thank you, Sienna.
Sienna.
Thank
Yeah,
you
of
so
course.
much. You're amazing.
Of
Short
course.
notice,
Thank you
awesome.
guys
You're
for
amazing.
having
She came
me
on.
on
There's
the
no
You're amazing.
and
podcast.
fucking rocking.
You're
I
amazing.
gotta have
The Robs.
You were awesome. You guys all were awesome.
And Middle Ground is a space where men talk openly about manhood. Sit down, Cody, please. Pressure, purpose, relationships, struggle, and growth. It's real. It's honest, and it helps men and women understand each other better. This is Middle Ground, and thank you guys for tuning in.